Hello, love wrestling. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
Can we start off with the biggest news of the week? The Rats lost! If you've got the budget, I've got the time.
There he is.
Hey, boss!
There's the boss.
Hey! The man with the finest beard on this screen. Canadian men, boys, shut the hell up. Let me talk.
You see, the Rads are resourceful. When I got beef with somebody, I can find a way to talk to them.
Watch and listen between two beers.
Hello, love wrestling. It is Thursday night, and it is 8 p.m.
Is
you
it
all
8?
know it is, right?
It's 8:02.
You know?
Just kidding.
Whatever. It's close enough. And you know what time that is.
It's 8 o'clock somewhere, baby.
It is time for another new episode of Between Two Beards. And you know how we roll. We got another big one tonight. We got a returning friend joining us here.
So
in just a
excited.
minute. I am very excited as well. But first and foremost, Pluggo, how the hell are you this week?
I'm good, man. Besides getting, trash talked by a couple knuckleheads. But I'm good. But I got a response for them here later. I'm hoping they show up in the chat hanging out. But we got our good, it's good, man. I had all-star game today for the 8-year-old. Just killed it. Just absolutely killed it.
All right, fair enough. Well, we have
congratulations to them. Wrestling is hot this week. Our guests are hotter, but we have a surprise run-in.
Yeah, I just
not
saw
who
that.
I expected.
No.
He
You
is
wanna pull
really
him up real
figured.
quick?
Yeah, he's figured out this
We
stream.
got Jericho in the chat. Hello, Scott in the chat.
What are you doing here, Boris? Hi, Boris.
I'm only here for just 3 pieces of business, and then I will be on my way. Piece of business number 1, you guys are phenomenal. This show is the greatest, and I love you.
Thank you.
We pay
Piece
him
of
to do that.
business number 2,
Yeah, we do.
Saturday Night Love, 10 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Twitch. Thaddeus Archer III is going to be my guest. And piece of business number 3, for those of people local in the Edmonton area, if you haven't heard, Slugger Slam time change because we're in the middle of a deathly heat wave of doom. The game has been moved from 1 o'clock p.m. to 10:30 a.m. So adjust your time accordingly. We will still be there providing incredible professional wrestling action after the incredible baseball game. There is going to be, from what I hear, you can bring in your own water bottle, and there's going to be water bottle filling stations at the ballpark as well. There is going to be mimosas, because it's now like a brunchly afternoon game. So the Riverhawks do this the Riverhawks do this like this beer bat thing where you get this cool little plastic bat. I should have brought it because I have one. But apparently you can get a mimosa bat as well on Sunday. So I'm trying to spread the word so nobody shows up late and misses the game, because it's a fantastic ballpark, fantastic quality game, yada, yada, yada. So don't be late. 10:30 a.m. is the new start time for the game before Slugger Slam.
There we go.
Is that all?
Thank you,
That's
Boris.
it. That's all.
Hey, am I allowed to join Saturday Night Love this week?
I have said 150.
No, because Dad and I are beefing. Are you okay with
It's
that?
bad. It's bad.
First of all, we encourage beef.
Okay.
We Alberta beef. Get it?
Because I know Mrs. Pluggo big times you because she has to work, but I don't, so I might be there anyway.
we feature an open house policy every week. Whoever wants to come by and hang out and talk about not just wrestling, but whatever's going on. I know it's a bit of a late night because we have an early call time now for Sunday morning, but nonetheless, the show will go as planned. But that's it. That's all I want to do is pop in and just make sure that anybody who's missing that time change, that's happening.
You forgot the fourth piece of business, you bum.
What's the fourth piece of business?
Saturday night, 5 p.m. Eastern, for Exposure,
right.
LPW preview show. God, we're doing that with you and Dash, me and Blair, baby. We're doing that, and we're doing both shows. We're going to preview both.
Nice. That'll be a fun time. So, Boris, thanks for popping in, updating the people. You can watch the preview with you guys on Saturday for both shows. We got 2 big shows coming up within the next, 8 or 9 days here.
He ain't lying. So, this was the star of the show.
It's true. But Boris, thanks for popping in with that info. We appreciate you, my friend, and we'll be tuning in on Saturday.
And if you're still
Thank you guys.
If you're
Have
still
a great show.
A little bit,
Thank
you're going to know why Thad and I are beefing.
They're already briefing. All right. Let's bring on our old friend. He is back. First time in a little bit. We're glad to have him back. Our friend, your friend. It's Mr. Warren Hayes. How are we doing, friend? How are you?
I mean, it's presumptuous that I'm everyone else's friend.
It's true. That's true.
Because it puts a lot of pressure on me. More birthdays to remember, more christenings to go to. Weddings.
It's just the money.
It's
I mean,
nice
I like a good wedding, though. I can get down on a good wedding.
Yeah, but if you have to go to more and you want to bring a gift, this is all of that. It's just it's a lot of stuff. And for weddings, you're not necessarily friends with the couple, right?
That's true.
So maybe eventually, if I start getting too many friends, I'm running into the possibility that one of my friends will marry someone that I don't particularly care for, and then I have to shop a gift for them.
Would you prefer friends marry friends, so it's less branching out and more friends trees?
I would prefer, yes, that everyone married amongst people I knew. That would be tremendous.
That would be, yeah.
Listen, if that was the case, Warren, I wouldn't have never met this smoke show known as Mrs. Sluggo.
I think we had it at the same time.
That's fair. That's fair.
She's here just in time. Warren's here just in time. Should I just sing now? Get out of the way.
Okay, so Warren, I got to give you and the people backstory here. Okay. Sluggo's been beefing a little bit with the guy that is going after the LPW main championship challenge him for Jack Pride.
No, correction. I've been beefing with Pride, not Jack.
That's
Jack
fair.
is a
with
wonderful person.
Yes, Jack is a swell fella. So I had the privilege of interviewing both Jack and Pride and Thad on the LPW show, and they took a shot at Pluggo on the show.
Such an easy target. It's such low-hanging fruit.
Multiple shots.
So
such low-hanging
before we
fruit.
get in here, Pluggo and I are chatting for 5 minutes before the show, and he goes, "Hey." He goes,
I wrote they wanted me to
track.
apologize. No, they wanted an apology.
Yes.
Instead, I wrote them a song.
Yes.
A diss track.
I wrote them a diss track. I'm not going to apologize to Pride or
Yes.
Thad.
I think I blew that.
You did blow the lead. That's fine. Do you want to give me the full screen? So this is ahead of Slugger Slam. This is ahead of Slugger Slam. So this is topical. And in my opinion, I think it's the perfect response to saying that I suck. So Jack Pride.
Right. Hold on. Let me get you. Wow.
He's
even got an instrument. He brought an instrument with him, guys.
My Paw Patrol guitar.
My God. All right. Pluggo, take it away, my friend. This is all yours.
Hey, JPJ, can you turn this up in my headphones a little bit? I need a little bit more in my left headphone.
A little more snare.
This is for all the people that thought I wasn't going to make it in this struggle. So with all those cops that tried to arrest me, I was just trying to feed my daughter. It's all good, baby. So here we go. Jack Pride, this is for you. Sluggerfest, you're taking on Lumberjack Larry Woods. Grand Championship match. And this is to the tune of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take me out to the brawl game. Let them fight in the crowd. Bring out the chairs and thumbtacks. I hope Pride gets laid on his ass, cause it's root against Pride. If he would win, what a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 taps your pin. Bye-bye to your potential championship reign. Go Lumberjack Larry Woods, baby. Let's go.
Wow. That was impressive.
So I got it. I'm calling it now. Spoiler alert. Jack Pride losing twice. Losing twice this month. No championship for you. Somebody clip that. Send that to that.
I mean, I'm sure that's going to get clipped.
Especially the part where you say root against pride. That's something where it's like that could be clipped easily out of context.
You need context.
I thought about going root for Lumberjack, but I thought, let's just make this all about pride. That's my first
I think
track.
Lawrence nailed it. I think Lawrence nailed it, really.
Grammy nomination.
Grammy nom.
Listen. They thought they were going to come at the king. They thought they were going to step to Pluggo, and I was going to apologize for simply calling it like I see it every Friday night of the month. You guys were having issues. You took personal shots at me. I sang you a song. Let's go. And I thought it was pretty good. But again, I'm all that came out of that Paw Patrol. Full shoot. I'm driving home.
You thought of that as you were driving.
No, I wrote the song yesterday, but the Paw Patrol guitar, I'm driving home with the boys, and I go, hey guys, random question. Do you know where your toy Paw Patrol guitar is? And they were like, yeah, why? And I go, can I borrow it? And my oldest goes, for your podcast? And I go, damn right for my podcast. Yeah. Go get the guitar, bring it to me.
A little condescending for your podcast,
right? It's exactly how he said it.
I hear a response like that, and all I can think of is like old Adam Sandler movies. When
my
Adam Sandler like, hey, you shut up.
My 9-year-old is a spitting image of his mother. They're like, you're gonna do that? Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah, I am. Pipe down. Yeah, I am.
Look at her. I can't tell if she's embarrassed.
It's not your business.
Are you? So right. Lawrence, I'm going to need you to get me on the Grammy nominations board. Get me in front of, we're going to make that a thing. We're going to, anyway.
Warren,
that's not why we brought you here, Warren.
No, I know, but Ash is.
I'm glad to have been a part of this. Let's be honest.
I mean, you saved it. You saved it for him. It's been a little bit since you've been on. Any new plants? Any new
you know what? We did have a big thing one of the last times. I've been oddly losing a lot of plants recently. And
like they're just getting
especially
up and
one.
I didn't mean to bring up a sore subject. But
no, it's fine. Like I think that in the existence of an amateur horticulturist,
Is that it? That
yeah,
might
sure.
Not even be it. That might not even be it.
He is a savage. He is her.
Like you have to accept your L's sometimes, but I'm really disappointed because I lost the kangaroo vine, which for those of you who followed, my stuff was always right on the corner, right there. That's where it was, and it just like completely keeled over, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful plant, and that really like sort of hit gut me. Punch. Yeah, the gut punch. So on that front, I can't say it's been all that exciting. No, I've been
it's fair. It's fair. Shouldn't have asked.
However, that being said, I'm a big Marvel Snap player. Have you guys ever heard of the game Marvel Snap?
I have. I don't have it, but I've watched people play it online as well. Like
it's a great game. It's an infuriating game, but it's also a great game, and I play a lot. And last week, before the end of the season, or was it the week before, I believe? So still very recent for me. Anyway, I'm very proud. For the first time, I made it to the maximum rank.
Nice.
Rank 100.
Nice.
Infinite rank. I did it after like 13 months of playing the game.
Hey.
I've never been able to do that in video games.
I don't wins the race.
But this is what's frustrating, right? Is that I watch a couple of choice YouTubers who play the game, right?
Of course.
And who I find have great tips, good deck building strategies, ideas, I'm like, oh, it's all good, And they're like showing off their gameplay and they're doing stuff and they're like, you know, like within the first 3 days, they've hit rank 100. They've hit infinite, and I'm like, you know, they're it's all pretty easy, and then all they're talking about is the competitive rank that you're in once you hit 100, and I'm like, I can't even get over, rank 77. What are we doing here? Makes me feel stupid. I have a very love-hate relationship with the game. I really do. Yeah, but I mostly love it. But I also hate it. But I also love it.
That's how
I'm
I
that
feel
way
about
with
most
all games.
Yeah.
I suck at all of them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah,
but then
I'm also competitive. I'm really competitive.
Yeah,
so
well, there you go. So
that's
when you can get lost. Yeah, that's when you can get lost into in the competitive aspect.
I'm a lot more chill now that I'm I'm a lot more chill now as in my older age. But when I was younger, like I was the teenager that would break a controller. Like
okay,
I would be like, son of a bitch, and I would throw it at a wall, or I would just and I'd be so upset, and I would
very
puncture.
One time I punched through a wall. I was like 12, and then it was handled by my parents, and I knew from that point on, hey, don't punch through a wall anymore. Don't do that. And that's how I learned, and then that was it. But yeah, one time when I was really, really young, I got upset. Well, and the game that I got upset was the old WWF Royal Rumble game.
Oh, that's
which at the time I was little. I was 12. Yeah.
Have you ever played Dark Souls?
Well, yes, but Dark Souls came out when I was at an old enough age where I would get frustrated, but I knew it was like, you're gonna turn off this game and go walk away. That's what you're gonna do.
These controllers are expensive.
The system is not making it through the rest of this. I will break it in half. I will office space the PS4.
You should see me now.
I'm like dream about.
I'm like, boys, do you know where the Xbox controllers are at? No. Well, you better find them and put them back in the charger holder because I can't afford that. Back in the day, I'm like,
yeah.
money.
I'm one of those adult children that has been celebrating all week because that new college football game came out. I've been playing a lot of it, and it's hard at times. And but I'm old now, so I'm just like, okay.
I gotta tell you, there are so many people in all my hangouts who are just going. They were going bonkers for the build to the EA college football game, and they're all talking about release day, and they're like, "I'm taking time off. I'm leaving early." And I'm like,
"It's unbelievable."
I opened,
and these are all adults. These are all like people over 30,
that's why I said adult children. Yeah, these are people
who've got kids.
Oh yeah,
they're acting like when Halo 2 came out back in the day. I was
gonna say, and I'm gonna let Pluggo do his thing. Easily from a sports game perspective, it is the biggest release of my lifetime, of our lifetime, I think.
Yeah,
from a sports game perspective. Yeah. Go ahead, Pluggo.
2 stories. One, we were talking about it the other day at my son's baseball practice. Me and one of the coaches, we were talking about it, and one of the kids came up to us like, "Oh, I can't wait for that game to come out." And we're like, "How old are you?" And he's like, 9. I go, "We've waited longer for this game to re-release than you've been alive."
But the idea is that it's been forever since they released
the last one made was in 11 2013.
Years. Okay, all right.
And then let Pluggo.
We got and then I work at a retail store, and we got the physical copies in early, and they were open in the box, and I grabbed a couple of them and just smelled them and held them close and got goosebumps. And I was just like, it's real. And these ladies are looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, you have no idea. I can't wait till I can buy this game.
Sit in front of my computer or desk.
I'm probably going to have to wait.
Talk to me.
I'm probably going to have to wait till after SummerSlam just because I got to make sure that's taken care of. Plus, I'm incredibly busy up until that day. So I'm going to buy it, and I am going to love it.
That is part of the lore, though, is it had not this.
It's like GTA 6, right? You've been waiting
everyone thought this game was dead. Like everyone was like, they're never making another college game ever again. It's never happening. And then college kids did that thing where they can get money now. And it was like, okay, this can happen. They announced, so it's been 11 years, but they announced it was coming back 3.5 years
ago. And then they delayed it.
It was coming back, and it took over 3 years for it to come out. So then you have that secondary wait. And that's why everybody that's flipping out is 35 and above, because we were all in our early 20s working our shit jobs, getting hammered or high after work, playing this game for 8 hours.
Talking trash with your buddies, just like.
And now we're all, most of us are old with families and responsibilities, and we're like, listen, I'm taking the week off or the weekend off. Don't talk to me. I'm going to be in the room doing this all day. Don't talk.
Building up the most garbage
I want to feel like
team of all time.
I want to feel like I'm 24 again, one last time, please. Thank you. I think that's what's collectively happening.
Gotcha.
Middle-aged white American men. But God bless. Anyway, so
wrestling, huh? No, whatever. What do you talk about? Whatever.
Yeah, we can. I mean,
yeah, Warren. What's new and exciting?
We had.
Are y'all gonna go see Wolverine and Deadpool this weekend?
I'm not going to see it this weekend, but I am definitely seeing it.
I don't even know what that is.
Pluggo is not. Pluggo.
Wow.
From a movie perspective, I don't think Pluggo is going to be involved.
I haven't seen a single Deadpool or Wolverine.
Deadpool's a good time.
Deadpool's
a good time. It's not even a real superhero movie. It's
a little different.
Still real to me, damn
I think you could get away with like seeing it on a one-off if you didn't know everything.
No, but I mean, yeah, exactly. And it's one of the it's one of these movies that I think that even if you're like oh, I don't like superhero movies, it's fine. This is you're gonna laugh your ass off regardless. It's so meta and there's so many jokes, and Ryan Reynolds is so incredibly funny. In both those films. And now they're doing the whole the trigger of this one is that they're bringing back Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine.
Yeah.
Okay. And the long and short of it is that Hugh Jackman played Wolverine in the 2000 X-Men movies, right? Before superhero movies got to the point we are today. But he's always been considered like the cinematic Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
And they did a bunch of movies, and then after they did a movie called much later, he had a standalone movie. They really leaned into it, and then they finally did one final film called Logan, which is Wolverine's real name, where he's old, he's grizzled, and no spoilers, kind of thing. So it sort of wrapped up like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and everyone was kind of sad. But now they're bringing him back for this. For this one, and it's very tongue-in-cheek, and in the X-Men 97 gear, which is
that's what I was going to say. He's wearing the bright yellow and blue.
I know about this.
Yep.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Welcome, Jordan.
We can talk about Joe Hendry.
Oh, and then look, it's Ryan Sullivan of the Mark Order Podcast calling me Plugalo. Hi, buddy.
So he's wearing the old gear, which makes me happy. And like my thing is, I was a big X-Men kid. I was a big X-Men kid.
Sure.
I would like them to make, they make so many movies and TV shows now of superheroes, but if they really made I liked the first original movies. I thought the first couple were good. And then they kind of got a little, whatever.
First Class, for instance. Yeah,
yes,
sure.
Yes. But I thought the first one specifically was a good movie. It was a good movie. I would love another dive into X-Men, whether it's a show or it's another set of movies. I would like a show, to be honest.
I like the X-Men. I've read comic books. I'm more of a comic book X-Men guy.
Now, are they just X-Men, or are they the X-Men?
It's just X-Men.
Because you said the X-Men.
Well, because then you talk about the team, right? Because there's two things. There's the team, and then there's the fact that they're mutants part of the X-Men. Right. So you can be an X-Men.
Yeah.
Right? There are X-Men. Like Professor X, Charles Xavier, says, "To me, my X-Men." He doesn't say, "To me, the X-Men."
Yeah.
That would be grammatically inappropriate, especially for one Patrick Stewart, right? So that's the thing, right? But I read more of the comic books. I wasn't super into the cartoon. I was also older, when the cartoon was out, so that wasn't necessarily my thing. But I've always been a big fan of the X-Men. I thought X-Men 97 was tremendous.
Oh, I was just going to ask. I was saying, I know you didn't. You said you were a little older for the cartoon, but did you watch 97?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this will be a nice little throwback. Like I went into it completely blind, like months after it was released, like at least 2 months after it was released, and everyone was hyping.
They did a good job there. They did a good job.
It's a fantastic.
It's really good.
And I know the storyline too from the comics, where I'm like, okay, like they're going pretty damn faithful, and then people get murdered, people die. Yeah. I'm like, did people die in the original 90s show?
I don't remember it. I was young though. I was little. So but I don't remember people dying.
I wouldn't think so, right? It's like it was on.
That's not what
it was on after school and stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was in the afternoon.
People died all the time.
Well, yeah.
I'm just assuming. I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
we do have
that's exciting.
Yeah, we do have. I mean, we have a wrestling question in the chat, so maybe we'll just throw it out.
Let's
talk about it. But it says, how did y'all feel about Mariah May's promo after her destruction of Toni Storm? I will say the heel turn from last week was just exquisite.
Yeah.
Exquisite.
Very well done.
We all knew it was coming, but I did not know it was going to be coming that way. And once it did, I was like, I don't think there could have been a more perfect way to do it, to be honest with you.
Tremendous.
Warren, what did you think of the promo last night? Mariah May in her first time speaking since the turn.
I think it was an unsuccessful follow-up to a tremendous angle.
Okay.
I didn't think it was compelling. I think it was the complete opposite of what happened last week. Last week, the show comes to a close. Like you said, no one saw. We knew the turn was coming. Mm-hmm. We did not expect it
right away,
immediately. Plus, that brutal.
Yeah, it was very brutal.
And it felt spontaneous and organic and real. You were feeling stuff, and she was, just tearing at Toni, and Toni was tremendous in it all. And it's just like compelling. Whereas here she comes out, I think coming out dressed as Timeless was a whiff. I think she should have come out with her own gear,
her own look.
I also understand why they did it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was a whiff. I would have brought out her Toni Storm gear that she was wearing, and I would have set it on fire. I would have brought that
trashed it or something. Yeah, for sure.
Set it on fire.
I'm just throwing options out there, Warren.
They had a guy come down from the rafters last night.
They set Jack Carey on fire.
They could have torched the fucking ring gear.
Darby brought his flamethrower with him just in case.
See,
100%. He did.
I get it. I know.
So I thought all in all we're goofing, but I thought the promo was very rehearsed, very contrived. She didn't move at all, right? Like she took her spot, like she hit her mark on Hardcam's side, and she just did her promo. She did her thing, and she was getting heat from the audience. Like people were booing at her, but she wasn't really reacting. That could be an experience, like it's not everyone who has the reflex to sort of go, maybe she was told, you got to deliver this. We're short on time. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
But she should have leaned into the audience more. But like I said, it felt like she was following a script. It was delivered as such. I really think it was unsuccessful. A complete flip from that organic, passionate, real moment that we got last week. Weird dichotomy. It was very strange. I don't think it was a good follow-up.
Yeah. I had no problems with the words she was saying. I thought the words that came out of the promo were like, okay, that's cool. But like I think the complete delivery, I don't know. It felt emotionless to me.
It felt rehearsed.
Yeah.
Rehearsed.
I think and that's what it was to me. I was just like, okay, like I understand what you're saying, but the way you acted last week, you let out a lot of aggression on that woman.
And
now
it was visceral and was like,
we could feel that through the screen. Like, oh my goodness, like this is a savage beat. Like this is an emotional, savage beatdown that is happening right here.
An incredible visual. Everything was perfect.
And it felt like this was just super tame. It was just super tame.
Dustin, welcome in, buddy.
Pluggo, what'd you think?
I'd same thing. It was very like I got the whole she's the understudy, now she's the star, but it was almost like when you're the understudy and you finally get that chance to be the star, or you're gonna be the star, you do the nefarious means to become, you gotta differentiate yourself a little bit. If it's like almost too Tony Storm on the nose, because I thought it was Tony Storm when she came out, and I was like, oh wait,
We all did.
Yeah.
that's Mariah May. And it took me a minute, and then it was very quiet and very tame. And then I gotta ask, only because I was shocked when he said it. Shivani was like,
Shivani?
speak, bitch. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, my favorite thing was Taz. Jesus.
He goes,
Shivani,
Jesus.
come on.
I
I'm
was like,
professional.
so like
Taz
out the gate, I'm already jarred and going, is
he
that
immediately says, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
yeah, sorry guys, I just can't stand what you. So it was just it was
so upset.
it was such a fumble. Oh, just to drive the plot to a movie. Oh, the movie Showgirls.
Yeah, remember that movie? That was
Vaguely.
Saved by the Bell, right? That was with Jesse.
That was what Jesse
Saved by the
Spano
Bell.
goes.
Jesse Spano.
I don't want to be
That's
known
right.
as Jesse anymore. I'm going to do the most opposite.
Remember the episode of Saved by the Bell where Jesse was addicted to speed? Remember
It
that?
was caffeine pills.
Caffeine pills. What do you think caffeine pills are?
Caffeine pills, baby.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yes, and she starts crying.
Yeah.
Oh, what a show.
It's
Asian Joe.
Zach's fault. If you've ever watched Zach Morris's trash on
That
YouTube,
is one of my favorite. If you ever watch Saved by the Bell, you need to go on YouTube or somewhere and just type in Zach Morris's trash. There is this gentleman, God bless his soul.
3 or 4 minute long videos.
He does 3 or
Perfect.
4 minute long synopsises of every episode and explains why Zach Morris is an absolute piece of trash in every episode, and it is tremendous. It is absolutely tremendous.
It's the best thing in the world. But
Asian Joe said her promo was far too in timeless Tony character instead of her own voice, and he also said the crowd sucked.
like if she didn't hold, it wasn't like it's like here I kicked her ass, I did all the aggression, and now I'm just even keel and cool. I would have come out with the bloody shoe or something.
I would have loved.
Yeah, give me something where you like, yeah, just have still that aggression to it. Hell, at this point, maybe you could have even waited another week and let it really kind of like, oh, what's you know what I mean? It's like, because now Tony's gonna respond, and Tony Storm, I have a feeling he's gonna blow her promo out of the water. If that's the bar, so then it's like, oh,
yeah.
So it's off to a clunky start, but
I mean,
I
would
give it a chance.
I'm not going to say look at the what chance and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sick of those as much as any other wrestling fan, but I think it's a little bit on the performer that if the crowd is not reacting or reacting in the way and maybe in like a way negatively that you weren't planning on it, because she's a bad person, you want a negative reaction, but not the way she was getting it. It's kind of on the performer a little bit, because the show opened with an hour-long match, and the crowd was pretty hot for a whole hour.
Can I answer Jordan's question when we get to it?
Yeah.
Whenever we get to it, whenever you put it on the screen.
I was going to transfer it into it right now, but
so what's the question?
Did y'all watch the MJF and Will Ospreay Classic?
No, sorry, Jordan. I don't watch absolute bangers unless they're on pay-per-fucking-view. I don't watch good matches on my free television. I don't do that. If it wasn't on pay-per-view, I don't give a shit. If I didn't drop $60, it didn't happen. To all of you out there, shut up. It was free. It was awesome.
I
hated that. I was so mad.
I don't get
it. Stuck because it wasn't on
if you want to tell me that you didn't like
is this a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing.
I thought you were doing a bit, and I really liked your bit. This is a thing.
He was doing a bit, but there are people that are
There are people on the internet that thought Ospreay and MJF was not a good match because they burnt it on free.
Yes, they should have done it on a pay-per-view.
They should have done it on a pay-per-view. That's the only what people wanted. What people wanted was for them to get in the ring for 5 minutes, get disqualified, and then do 60 minutes.
This is all encompassing of a whole argument about what
that
happened last night.
That match was awesome.
No, but this is great. Like, for me, it is awesome. I think it's great that these people have obviously been in comas since 1988 and are finally waking up. Like, that's tremendous, right? Because the business has changed. If we're having this discussion right here, if a match of the magnitude of Ospreay versus MJF happened in 1988, for instance, 89, 90, everyone would be saying these people are nuts, because the business back then was to get people to watch pay-per-view. Boys, what is the essence of business in pro wrestling in 2024?
TV contracts.
TV media deals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, of course, you're putting your best foot forward on TV. And I'll tell you what, it's been like this for decades now. It is about the media deals. So, yeah, you should put big ass first time matches in Little Rock, Arkansas, but nonetheless, they should be on TV.
Oh, Little Rock, Arkansas, baby.
Once in a while.
Deserve that.
Because that's good business. And look at what happened. They almost 800,000 people watched last night, according to the ratings, a 0.27 in the demo, which is really strong.
Which they did like 680 last week, so I think that was a good thing.
And here's something else. We have to stop acknowledging the stupidest people on earth who are on Twitter.
I say this to Pluggo all the time. I try to say this to Pluggo all the time. And
it's not even a question of the stupidest people. Sometimes it's just children.
Sometimes
it's kids. It's someone. It's someone who just started watching wrestling 2 years ago, and hears these stupid ass arguments from the dumbest people on earth. And they just start repeating them because, like, yeah, you should say this for pay-per-view, but they don't understand the nature of the business in 2024 because they just started watching wrestling 2 weeks ago.
Calm down, Warren. Dustin, I would be given $50. I'd be spending a lot of money because I enjoy a lot of different things from the world of wrestling. I think that there's something for everybody. Yeah, I just thought it's like, what are we arguing about here? Like, I get the argument that a match like that maybe should be on a pay-per-view, but like that doesn't mean the match sucked.
No, it doesn't.
No. And like, again, if you want to tell me that for some reason that match you didn't think that was good, okay, you're entitled to that opinion. I think your opinion is wrong. I thought that match was spectacular. They went for 59 minutes and 53, whatever the hell it was.
58
seconds.
59:58.
59:58. And at like the 50 mark, they were doing mini Ricochet Osprey spots from 10 years ago. I'm like, what are you doing? 50 minutes in, you're doing
and they were sweating balls because it was hot in that room.
Can you
get all the like MJ, just everything about it? You got
and he cheated to win, so we'll get a rematch.
He cheated. But that's who he is. He did what he did. He used the ring. They did the Osprey thing with I know, Warren, you weren't the biggest fan of that part of the match. That was really the only thing you didn't like.
I hated that. I hated it, actually.
Yeah. I have no problem with him still. I felt like I have no problem with him still.
Well, let's talk about it just to make sure your audience understands.
They over dramatized.
Yeah,
like it went on forever.
Logo has no idea.
Like you're at like the 50. You're at like the 56-minute mark or whatever. You're in that match. You're at the apex where he's trying to win. He looks like he's gonna do the Tiger Driver 91, and he lifts him up for it at one point. He's up for it, and then he just stops, lets him over, and they over dramatize it, and the look on his face, and they're just he's going through this whole ordeal for a few minutes in the ring of like, I can't do this. And it's like, brother, I don't know. I just felt like it just took a while. It just took a while. And it kind of
Danielson's fine. He's still wrestling. I don't know why.
My issue, and clearly you listened to my review, JPJ, right? If we're bringing this up, because the idea, what we're talking about essentially is the Tiger Driver 91 spot that Will Ospreay wasn't able to deliver on MJF, where he hesitated and was like, no, because they're doing the story that Will Ospreay is he's got remorse from using it on Bryan Danielson because he injured Bryan Danielson, who was taken off TV, but only for a couple of weeks. If they had played this with Danielson like being gone for months, then you're like, okay. But not only did Danielson return on just a couple of weeks later, but he did the Anarchy in the Arena match. So if I'm Will Ospreay, I'm going like, oh, okay.
That's not that bad. At King of the North, to answer your question, that is the lovely Mr. Warren Hayes and JPJ. They are the incredible, beautiful people on the screen, and I am the odd man out Pluggo.
How dare you, Pluggo?
And my main issue is at Forbidden Door. This is my tippy top issue, is that at Forbidden Door, Ospreay did the Tiger Driver 91 on Swerve, but Swerve wriggled out of it. And it's not even because Will hesitated. Will was doing the move and Swerve countered out of it, which was a beautiful transition as well. A great spot. And then they came back on Dynamite after and they were like, and they were, he being Ospreay was talking with Don Callis and they were talking about how Will, you hesitated with the Tiger Driver 91. I'm like, no, he didn't.
No.
He didn't hesitate. And now we're still telling the story. We had to keep it alive for this stupid moment. And the problem that I had, because MJF cheating to win, I don't have an issue with it. It actually makes 100% sense with his return. His re-healing makes perfect sense. I'm all for it. But I hate when they do these things and it interrupts the flow of a match.
Yeah.
And especially a match where things had been going, like you guys said, it was a spectacle of stamina, right? Like that what these guys were doing 55 minutes into this match, they were going as hard as they were going like a half hour ago. That's ridiculous, right? And it was entertaining and was good and was building to something. And then you're like, why are we doing this? Why are we cutting the flow of a legitimately great match for this? I absolutely hated it. And Ospreay is there doing faces where he's like, and he's not really good at it. It's like, you get some acting classes, Will, it's fine. Your forward rolls are good. You can train for something else. It just didn't work at all. I really don't think it was good. I hated it.
And I think that was a good point that you pointed out. It really it killed the momentum in the match because the match was flying at that point. They're going back and forth. They're doing all these things. And it's like, they've been doing this for 45, 50 minutes. This is incredible. And then it just kind of came to a screeching halt.
And you're like,
with that moment.
Why are we doing this? And the angle doesn't even make sense. It's not even, it's retconning stuff that they already established. Like it's so mind-bogglingly stupid. And it boggles my mind that I'm saying this about a Will Ospreay match where, it's like Will shouldn't be doing stupid stuff like this. And Will has a better head for this kind of stuff. So I don't know what's going on like with the composition of the story, but something's lacking. Something didn't connect, and I hate
Plus,
it.
It's MJF, right? And he just absolutely murdered your boy last week. Like, I don't think anybody would be upset with you if you pulled out the Tiger Driver to beat him or try to beat him, or you know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, "What are you worried about?" I think you get more cheers if you did it than if you didn't do it. But
I like the idea that Ospreay needs the Tiger Driver to put away the top guys in the company, right?
Yes.
I like he did it with Danielson and it worked. He couldn't do it with Swerve, can't do it with MJF. I think that's an interesting little thing. But if the hesitation thing, if his crisis, his soul crisis that he's going through right now wasn't an issue, and wasn't interrupting matches, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. I put it on the same level, and maybe this is something I don't know, but I put it on the same level as to last year, when Roman Reigns would have his main events with the Bloodline, and then they would always interrupt to do a monologue or like blah 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 blah. Yeah, and then like I get your motivations. I'm not a goldfish. I understand your motivations.
Yeah,
Roman, you don't have to spend the next 35 seconds, berating the man and doing a monologue to make me understand what's going on.
Just beat him up.
I'm not stupid.
Yeah,
some wrestling promotions have a tendency to think that their fans are stupid. Then again, you have people going on Twitter saying that match sucked because it wasn't on pay-per-view, which isn't exactly a galaxy brain response, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we got Huggy Bear asking. He said, "But do you think that MJF actually needed that title?" I think
go ahead. I was going to say,
which one?
Read the comment, then I'll say my.
All right, I think
we got to figure that out.
Should be that AEW should be graced to have his presence there, no matter what.
I like that.
I actually think he does, because I actually like if they run it back at All In, if they choose to do that, which I think they would. Osprey coming into his, at London without the belt, huge pop, underdog. Maybe that's a better reaction, even though it's Osprey. I think it'll be fine, but that's maybe what they're going for. And then Dustin asks if it should have been an Iron Man match. Would that
do you
have
think
been
it would have
better?
been better if it was an Iron Man match off the jump?
Oh, 17 falls in an Iron Man match? Garbage. What is the correct number of falls in an Iron Man match?
Well, I mean,
6'5" are ridiculous.
I mean, usually a good, a
3 to
solid
1,
match can
3
be
to
like
2.
about 50. Usually a solid match is like what, 12 to 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You usually get your one fall in those 12 to 15 minutes.
So I think like a
that's
2
your
to
answer
1,
right there.
a 2 to 1, a 3 to 1, maybe 3 to 2.
You can do a 3 to 2. I think it makes sense, especially if it's a heel who's got his thinking hat on. He can sneak an extra pinfall or two.
I've been saying it for a while, but I think I've been saying I need to compile like my top 5 like worst comments of the week and play them on the show.
Let's have a bit, bro.
Who gave a bad comment?
Pluggo gets
my Facebook. My Facebook. My Facebook page is wild.
He shares them with me, but Pluggo gets some crazy comments on some.
I get some wild shit.
It's like, what are we doing?
And I'm like, how is that? How does that even make sense?
And then he brings it to my attention. I'm like, why are you even paying attention?
Because they pay the bills. They pay the bills, baby.
You just got to move.
That sounds like JPJ. That sounds like something I'd say. It's like,
I do move past them. They don't
matter.
They don't eat at my day, but they're hilarious.
Yeah, some of them are like, what the hell?
I'm like, I'm like, I don't even get mad. I just go, really? You put that out on the internet?
Yeah. I mean, before we move on, all in all, besides the Tiger Driver 91, just a fantastic match to start the show. Will Ospreay, probably the best bell-to-bell wrestler in the world currently. And MJF, I don't know how people keep on forgetting all the time, but MJF just reminded people that he's pretty damn one of the best in the ring as well. Because
did you guys think we were going to get an hour?
No, I was surprised. I
was too. Once it got past a certain point, though, I was like, are they going to do the draw? Are they going to do the draw here? I thought we were in that territory. It was basically what happened.
That's what I thought we were going for too. And especially since they didn't announce a lot of matches, I think everyone was sort of like, oh, well, Ospreay and MJF is going long, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone expected 60 minutes.
Yeah.
59-58.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It did it.
I did love in commentary they kept putting over like this is like MJF's like third match.
Literally,
the last 6
cardio
months.
is insane.
Because they were hitting that hard. They were hitting that hard, and then the Ospreay wrestling as much as he has.
And there's just some of the spots. The obviously the spot where MJF's on the outside doing his thing. And just the beautiful camera angle of Ospreay diving through the ropes for the my god!
And you felt it.
Beautiful.
You felt it. You're like, okay, God, that was tremendous. I was in this
chair watching, and I was like, I like popped up.
I love the maybe it's a more innocuous spot, but he did Andrade's moonsault into a standing moonsault.
Yes.
So he did that, but then he added on a standing shooting star press. So he does the moonsault for the rope, the standing moonsault, and of course Max is avoiding them all.
Yeah.
And then he does a standing SSP, which lands, and then he goes up top to do a sky twister. I was like,
incredible. And then
he's
you have
not like us. Did you know that he's not like us?
No. And then the Hurricane Rana spot where he lands on his feet and Max with the dramatic look was a good spot too. They went into the crowd. That little Ospreay telling the little girl to hit MJF, and MJF flips her the bird after. I thought it was hilarious. I know it's a child, but I thought it was hilarious.
That was so funny. She was wailing on him. It was tremendous. She's got better working punches than Shane McMahon.
Yeah,
and she's 7 years old.
And MJF letting it like being cool.
Book her versus -1.
Man,
let's go.
Good. And then Ospreay's like shaking the hands of a couple other fans as he's beating them up. That was good. It was just a well put, and then obviously you got the elbow drop through the tables, the big spot.
What a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
When Ospreay started twitching, I was like, oh
yeah, man. It was just a beautiful, a really good wrestling match. And I think they probably go for the rematch with Ospreay trying to get the belt back at All In. You could, I don't know if they'll book it. You could do the Iron Man there if you wanted, because they went to But
think there's an element everyone's forgetting. Doesn't Pac have the shot?
oh yeah, that
Yeah,
is
Pac
true.
has the shot. So there is some discussion. I saw some like chatter on the internet that maybe like
we have
Pac
like
gets
6
the
weeks
shot
though,
in
right? Like we got a
MJF,
while.
and maybe like this Osprey not being right.
And
he
like,
gets
where does Daniel
Ricochet.
Garcia? Where does Dan Garcia come back at
'Cause,
some point
listen,
and get involved here?
He's I don't know.
Before
He's pretty beat up.
Apparently. Before Pac won the shot, I was convinced that they were going to do, because I heard pitches, by the way, and I'm trying to say too many things at once, but I've heard pitches about what MJF wanted to do with the title. Now, I'm just going to point out one thing, because I don't necessarily want to give the impression that I'm some kind of insider. I just hear chatter and stuff. And
Yes, he is. He's lying. He's lying. He's on the payroll. He's on the payroll.
He's a shill. He's a shill.
Chris, can't wait for my first check.
Spencer, get that thing in the mail.
Just keep in mind, or I want you all to remember one tweet that MJF posted after winning, where he said, "America has a great champion again." I just want you to hang on to that one. I think it coincides with the pitch I heard, and I don't think it's an empty tweet. I don't think I think it was meaningful, very meaningful. So just keep that one in mind. And before Pac won, I thought they were going to do the rematch at Wembley, and then they were going to do Dan Garcia versus MJF at All Out, because don't forget 2 weeks later they got another pay-per-view to put on.
Yeah.
They pushed it back a week, but nonetheless it's coming in real fast too. So my fear is that this is going to be a multi-man match, that it's going to be a 4-way, and if you are familiar with me and my commentary, and I hate multi-man matches for titles. I cannot stand them. I could not be more turned off by the Slammiversary main event this weekend.
It's a bunch of them, right?
There's 6 people in it.
6-pack challenge. Yeah.
That or a contract signing, which is worse.
Oh,
contract signings though.
The way he's
the disdain that he has for contract signings. I don't know. Has anything ever come close to topping it?
To being worse than contract signings? I mean, as far as creative ideas go, I think it's the most. It's what's creeping up there? It's TV. It's wrestling talk shows. It's creeping up there for me, of course.
For you,
TV.
The learning tree,
Ms. TV,
the learning tree. That
the learning tree.
Hi guys.
I think it's terrible. I hate the concept of these TV talk shows. I think they stink most of the time.
It's fair.
There's, you can't take away the classics. You can't take away Piper's Pit.
No.
You can't take away what did he call it? The highlight reel, Jericho.
Oh, Jericho was the highlight reel. Yeah.
And especially the festival of friendship.
Fantastic. Should have been for the world title.
Should have been for the world title.
God damn it!
But we had to give it to Goldberg.
Obviously.
It was important.
Yeah.
It was important because his kid was watching.
Yeah.
It was very, very important.
Correct. Yeah. Well, so important.
But no, I thought the match was absolutely fantastic. It was just a tremendous match. 2 top guys, just 2 top guys wrestling
arguably the top 2 guys. You can make a strong argument. So
well, I mean, I think Will Ospreay is the best wrestler on planet Earth right now. Mm-hmm. Let's give it a couple of years, and we'll probably start talking about him. I think he's already one of the greatest of all time, and let's give it another couple of years, and he might just be the greatest of all time. He just might be.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't think anyone touches him. I think MJF, like you said, I think people forget how great he is because his whole shtick is, I don't want to wrestle.
Exactly.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
But the guy is a student and he loves wrestling. But whatever he says on camera is all shtick. It's all kayfabe. Oh, yeah. He loves pro wrestling, and he was in his element last night, just doing top guy stuff. It was incredible. MJF, just to You know, because I was watching it with Kristen last night, and she was saying, I think this isn't this MJF's longest match in AEW? I was like, no. By 2 seconds, it's not.
Yeah.
And I believe he even has the third longest singles match against CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
So MJF has been involved in 3 longest matches in AEW history.
Yeah.
I believe.
It's easy to do when you only wrestle 3 times a year.
You know, listen. I mean,
I say that in jest for all of our audience.
But that was his shtick for so long until he turned into the heroic good guy at the end of last year, and he was wrestling all the time. But that was his shtick up before they ran that angle. When he was wrestling so much, he had been in the company since day one, and he had wrestled a total of like 17 matches or something like that in like 3+ years. Like he did not wrestle. That was the whole shtick. But yeah, no, it's true. And then the rest of the show. Some of it felt like it had to be crammed in a smidge because of that match. The first match was so long, but we also saw Mercedes have a pretty good match. It was a quick one. I would have liked them to have a little bit more time, but her and Nyla Rose, it was good to see Nyla in that scenario. She should be on TV more. I know we say that every time we see her because we don't see her enough. But I thought for what it was, that match was pretty good. And then I thought the main event was pretty good too. With Okada and Swerve. Obviously, you would like to see them have a longer form match at some point, being a match that we have never seen or I've never seen before last night. But all in all, I thought the match
on a pay-per-view.
And they did the little spot. Blood and Guts is next week. I'm not feeling too hyped for the Blood and Guts match. Do I think it'll be entertaining and I'll end up enjoying it? Probably. But going into it, I think it's because Team AEW is weak.
It's led by the ROH World Champion.
It's just weak, not weak as in I love Swerve. I love Swerve. I love Mark Briscoe. But and I like Bowen
and Darby.
And Darby. Yeah. I don't know. I just expected when things went down and Tony got attacked, I expected this elite angle still to have way more heat than it does. I feel like it's just not. I like the elite. I like the shtick. I like Okada, what he's doing. I like Hangman coming back as this. I still think Hangman should have won last week, and it should be Swerve and Hangman and All In. I love Danielson, but that was a wrong decision to me. I don't know. There's no juice for me besides it being a blood and guts match. That's how I'm feeling about it.
You better be careful. Last time you said that, Lou busted your shit.
It's true. No, he apparently does not like. I kept the door shut though, so he couldn't pound.
He does not like Hangman.
He does not. Well, no, he doesn't like Bryan Danielson slander, and neither do I. But I feel like Hangman should have won that match. But anyway,
and I'm not feeling the. Me, it's the Acclaim that's completely turning me off. Honestly,
it's fair. It's fair.
I've never been a big Acclaimed guy, despite the fact that I will always put over the fact that these are 2 guys who were thrown in together, 2 singles guys. This is like Tony was like one day, okay, you guys are a team now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they just, okay, let's run with it. Let's try to do the best out of it. They got themselves over. And they became a super hot act, and it's all on them because I think Tony just wanted 2 guys, on the lower card that could take L's all the time. And then next thing you know, everyone's going nuts for the raps and for the scissoring and all that stuff. So it's like, and honestly, who doesn't go a little crazy?
Let's be real.
I was just saying.
Yeah.
So that I can appreciate, and I'm a big Anthony Bowens appreciator.
Yes.
I think he's got a lot of upside. I'm stoked for him to no longer be associated with this act, but despite everything that all the positives, the Acclaim never worked for me, and I find that they're super cold right now. Couldn't care less that they're challenging the Bucks for the titles. Like I have no investment in the Acclaim. So them being in a blood and guts match, maybe they're going to pop in there and prove us all wrong. Maybe we're going to be like, look at CZW worthy performance by the Acclaimed. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it.
It's So this, like you said, the Elite dastardly beat. Why doesn't Tony Khan have more of a like?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Skin in this game.
I don't get it.
Like, and who put Briscoe in charge? Right? Like, is there not anybody else available for Team AEW than this kind of hodgepodge? And it's just like, and I get Darby's cool and all, but like every one of these matches, like, hey, Darby, okay, what, like, okay. I'm so confused as to this is the team you're putting up against who's supposed to be your quote unquote NWO unstoppable group.
Yeah.
And you're just like, let's just throw this together.
And I have no problem with Darby being in this match. We literally just saw Darby in this type of match with the Elite last month, and he got hung upside down for 10 minutes, and they lost. So I get it. He is part of Team.
So I get it. Darby's fault. Is that what you're saying? No. Are you putting it on Darby? You just put it on. You said he got hung upside down, and they lost. What is Darby
going to bring to this match that we didn't already see him do in a similar, like, you know what I mean? Give me something fresh. I don't know.
And we still haven't got that tag team championship spot.
Yeah, they did the hour, obviously, with MJF last night for 250, so I get it. But to me, like, Swerve and Ospreay being on the same team next week would have mattered more to me.
Who else? Who would you put on Team AEW? How about that?
Right now?
Other than what's on there?
I would have done Swerve, Ospreay. Even though I know it's been done before, I probably would have thrown FTR in there if they were available. I think they're more AEW to me than the Acclaimed, at least to me. And then for a fifth guy, I'd have to think about it. If he didn't play the injury angle with MJF, Daniel Garcia would have been a good fifth choice for me. Moxley, if available. But that's the type of mega team you're going to be like, okay, that is Team AEW going to try to take down the Elite here, who are trying to still run the show, even though Tony Khan apparently doesn't give a shit.
Because you're in a bit of a lose-lose here in the sense that if the Elite lose to this group,
that's 2 in a row. The Elite will then win over Team AEW.
But if
is the Elite running the show?
But if that's what I'm saying. Like, the Elite have to win to stay this dominant force, and then this is the best AEW had to offer.
Loses this one. Is there just going to be another one where they're going to create a new Team AEW?
Technically, Team AEW and Team ROH. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I have a problem with that.
I love Mark Briscoe. I'm not going to complain about Mark Briscoe.
You're the Ring of Honor World Champion. You have a tough enough time getting storylines built for your match and your pay-per-view coming up in a couple weeks. Go over to the people. I just feel bad for the people that spend $10 a month to have all their champions on free TV.
I don't.
Fair argument. I don't watch. I don't. So
because they're paying for a wrestling show that's not that great. I don't feel bad for them. It's their choice.
It's just in. Warren says it's your fault.
Well, it kind of is. Yeah, it kind of is. I'm okay with it.
We got Scott saying that this time Darby's going to get the win back, and then the rubber match will be down the line. Oh, well, first and foremost, we did mention earlier, how do we, Darby came in from the rafters, much like his retired friend Sting last night. I will always be a mark for that. I always think that that's just cool as shit whenever it happens. And last night I was like, and that crowd lost its friggin' mind when that happened.
I thought it was a good crowd.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good crowd.
I thought it was too. I know. They got on the Tony Storm, the Mariah May thing, but other than that, I thought the crowd was pretty good last night.
Can we talk about Darby? Can't possibly be 100%. Dude got hit by a bus, broken foot, hung upside down.
I mean,
what's that guy made out of?
Rubber.
I mean, yeah, it's like if he wants to wrestle, what are you going to do if he's cleared? Like, maybe it's one of these things where it's like, well, you check all the boxes, Darby, but maybe you should rest a bit, but and then he's like, yeah, but Doc, is everything okay? Yeah, everything, like, technically speaking, following this checklist that I have, that I follow, yes, you are all okay. Maybe,
what keeps me out of legal issues, yes.
That's
but my heart is saying, sit down, watch some TV, binge watch Law and Order or something. Just take a few days off. He comes back for all these crazy big matches, and I'm just like, Ain't no way. Ain't no way he's feeling good.
Probably not. Probably
But,
not.
hey, you do you, Darby. You do you.
Um,
I've always been worried about Darby Allin from day one. I'm always like, that guy
He's
is
a wild
nuts.
man. Some of the stuff
Imagine
he
being
does.
his parents.
Yeah, a wild man. He's a wild man. Couple Mercedes things. Obviously, after the match, they did the bit where they had somebody in the front row wearing a Sting mask, oddly enough. And she kind of did an interaction with them, and it was Britt Baker, shoved her down, got over the ring. They were separated and stuff like that. I thought that was good. I do think the build for this has been pretty good.
Awkwardly separated on top of that. Those security guards were kind of out of place, and then
they were.
He's like, oh, I better get over there.
Yeah. And then earlier in the night, we saw Mercedes backstage with the Elite. Like, they've gone full-fledged heel with her now that Britt is back, which I like. That's more her comfort zone. That's what she's good at. Yeah, and I was going to say, Okada seemed to have a crush on Miss Mercedes as well. I thought that was kind of funny and stuff like that. So all in all, I thought Dynamite 250 was a pretty solid show. I think they've been on a little bit of a good run here. They had a couple weeks ago, that show was just maybe the best one of the year. And then last week was good. I thought this week was good. Again, we'll see how Blood and Guts goes. Obviously, you're going to have the spectacle of the big match. But again, I'm not feeling too hyped about the actual, story leading into it. But like, they're on a little bit of a good run here that I'm enjoying, which is good, because it was kind of it felt up and down to me for a long time. And I feel like, again, it's only been 3 weeks, so you got to go longer than that. But it's at least looked promising the last month or so. It's at least looked promising since, Forbidden Door.
It's been a really rough week for the people that say AEW doesn't run love angles. Okada is going to, I can't wait for him.
Oh, you think Okada and Mercedes is going to have a love
I can't wait for him to give her some flowers or take her out in his big
listen
or whatever.
As long as it wasn't too corny.
I want it to be absolutely corny. I want it to be Adam Cole MJF levels of cornball. I know Warren doesn't like that stuff in his wrestling program. But I don't care, Warren. I'm here for love.
Well, I'm not
gonna let 5-star bangers get in the way of true love.
Well, I want
on my TV.
Get your priorities straight, buddy.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that meme floating around where the MJF match went an hour and Raw had 49 minutes of total wrestling?
Really? Like Raw this week?
Is that true?
Yeah, Raw this week had 49 minutes of total wrestling. That's what I saw. Now the internet is.
I'll check.
I watched Raw. I felt like there had to be more than that on Raw. I watched the whole episode. I thought maybe not. Maybe not.
He's thinking about it.
Maybe it's right.
There was a lot of thirst on Raw this week.
Well, I was just going to ask. You were talking about love angles.
I know.
And I know Warren doesn't watch the WWE weekly product as much as AEW or other things. But I was going to ask his opinion on the Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio love triangle that we have going on over the actual story of it.
You know what? People wanted the Attitude Era back. There you go. You got it. There you go.
Carlito's telling dick jokes, man.
I mean, look, this is what people wanted. Isn't this what people wanted? We want the Attitude Era back.
Yeah, that's what
I won't go that far. I don't mind adult themes here or there. More adult themes. I think that's fine. These people work together. There are going to be some romances. I have no problem with that. But
like at the PC, everyone's dating each other at the performance center.
Not everybody, but sometimes your relationships are formed. So, like, I don't got a problem with real life scenarios happening occasionally. But this one is like, man, it's getting hot and heavy over there. Hot and heavy.
I can't stand this stuff. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it in 1997. I can't stand it today. I think it's stupid. It's a distraction. It's poorly done. It's a mischaracterization of the women. Here's something that no one wants to talk about is that they're you wanted the Attitude Era back. Well, there you go. The women are being treated like they were back in the Attitude Era, just like objects, sex things, being catty with each other. Why are this is all the thing about a man. 2 women wrestling about a man. Like,
Not even like a full grown. It's like Dominic Mysterio level, man.
Exactly.
Too.
That's a whole. It's like wrestling over a cup of pudding. It's like with the little hair on top. There's.
Oh.
But I mean, that's the thing. Look, this is what people had been clamoring for. What they wanted. Well, this is what you're getting. And. What were they running just a few months ago, pre-WrestleMania? They were doing Maxine Dupree getting bullied, right?
Yes,
because she can't stand up for herself because she's just a girl. It's like, what is this? Like, it's not evolution. It's not changing it. They're not fighting over wrestling things. They're fighting over stupid shit. And in the meantime, they're doing sexual innuendo and softcore porn poses, and all right, and people are getting a rise out of it. Now we can argue, but Warren a couple of weeks ago on AEW television, they had girls kissing on TV. Sure, and you know what? That's fine. But I'll tell you what, that complex love triangle that they had at the very least was different because it was 3 women, and it was also treated as respectfully as you can.
I was going to say it was
situation.
treated respectfully.
Yeah. Where it's not like the payoff wasn't all 3 of them, making out in the middle of the ring at the end of Forbidden Door when Mina lost. It's like no, it's just like they all reconciled, they hugged, and they went backstage.
And I could be wrong, but I don't remember any like innuendos being spoken either between the 3 of them. But
and they weren't like laying on top of each other and
I'm a
stretching out.
I'm a screamer, Dom. My voice is a little.
Now that was when she
I
said that line on Monday. I was like, wait a minute.
But hey, guys, I don't know. It's all okay really when you think about it. WWE it's made for kids. It's made for families. It's not like the dirty smut that we get in AEW, right? With the cursing and all of that. There's people saying shit live on TV on Wednesday nights. Let's go back to our wholesome Monday Night Raw. With the
dry humping in the middle of the ring that's occurring.
It's tough, man, to be like, Mrs. Pluggo, this is wrestling. I promise.
Dustin says, it'll be interesting to see how much things change when Raw and other programming worldwide moves to Netflix in January. Well,
to be honest,
what does he mean? What does he mean? Like, change how? And I invite Dustin
I think he I mean, yes, I hope he says it in the chat. I was thinking that yes, it's going to get even more. I would not be shocked if we see, not regularly, but if we see more F-bombs and like more vulgar language in it. I would not be shocked if we see a couple more sexual, I don't think we're going to see like nudity or anything crazy like that. I don't think we're going that level, but when there are no limitations, I do think we are going to see, like non-PG. He means in terms of edgy content, non-PG.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, we saw even earlier this year before WrestleMania, it was getting edited out. But when The Rock was dropping F-bombs, he was saying, you mess with you fuck with the final boss, and the shit like that. Like, they're going to do that. I think it'll be few and far between. I don't think it's going to become a regular thing because I do think they still want kids to watch the show and families to go to their shows because families spend a lot of money to go to and at those shows. So they still want it to be a family kid experience. I think they're going to make it clear.
5-year-old the one, and it was a house show, so there was. But I mean, that would be a tough one to explain.
I'm just saying, I would be shocked if we're not hearing more bits, more occasional F-bombs, more risque. Like I said, we're not going to go to insane depths here, but more risque stuff. Like
I've always
they're already talking about it now that it's gonna. What are they saying? The handcuffs will be off, or they're saying these little innuendo lines of like, "Hey, we're going to be a little bit more free." And okay,
like
we're already seeing them a little bit more free now.
Because I'm an adult, but I always said I don't want the full blown Attitude Era back because, like, how would I explain? I like watching wrestling with my kid. I don't let him watch AEW when it gets crazy.
So much better in the Attitude Era, boys. Don't you remember?
Listen, I spent, and I'm going to shout him out because he's a fantastic person. Kyle from the Apron Bump had me on this week.
Yes,
and we watched
Kyle.
Yes, Pretty Kyle. He's a handsome man. We watched No Mercy 03.
Hell yeah,
and that was so hard to get through.
Yeah,
look it. I understand why.
I don't want
this.
that
We could go off.
back
We
in my-
could talk about this probably for the rest of the show if you really wanted to get into it.
Do whatever we want.
In the year 1999, or really the Attitude Era started 98-ish, I was 13, 14 years old. I was in the prime of my teenage life.
Your prime dick and ball jokes were your
100%.
wheelhouse.
I was the prime candidate for what the WWE wanted to be watching their television show. And I was hook, line, and sinker. I had never loved wrestling more. I was in. Stone Cold was my dude. Like, I was balls to the wall in. You look back on it now. Are there great things that happened during the Attitude Era? Absolutely. There is great things. Mick Foley winning the world title on that Raw. All time to me.
But it wasn't on a pay-per-view. How could they give that to you on free TV?
Not even that was taped. They taped that.
Oh, shit. Jesus Christ!
They aired that shit 8 days after it happened. I was there. That was in Worcester,
from the record.
Anyway, great things happened during the Attitude Era. All that stuff, the characters, Stone Cold, all of it. When you go back and watch a lot of it now, it doesn't hold up as great as you think it does. It just doesn't.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not even
because all the stuff that people remember is so good.
Yeah.
That's all you focus on, and that's what you remember because that's what made an impression on you. But if you sat down to watch a 2-hour Raw, because there were still 2 hours back then.
They were.
You sat down to watch 2 hours of Raw, I promise you, it is a difficult watch. It's not great. There's too much nonsense going on. The matches are blink and they're done. You know, we're talking about, they could have challenged for the Speed Championship. You know what?
It's over.
And the rest really was a lot of trash, and there was a lot of things that just were not connecting. Yes, Stone Cold was great. Yes, the Rock was tremendous. DX was good for a hoot and a holler. Mick Foley, that was tremendous, and then the Undertaker and all that. But there's an undercard here. There's a lot of people that they're still putting on the show, and you're like, Christ, and the women?
Not good.
Yeah, it's not a great time in WWE. It's not as good as people remember it. The highs are so incredibly high, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Is that 100%. Then you're like, this was a golden era, but it's not. If anything, I would say this is more of an even golden era for WWE, where it's more of an ensemble cast of really good performers, really good at what they do, and are doing everything that the audience wants, and things connecting and making sense. I think this is overall a better WWE than back in 1999.
Yeah, and I agree. I was going to say, like, are they, is it for everybody now? Is everybody, but I feel like right now we are kind of at an apex, or we're approaching an apex for kind of the best era of WWE that we've seen in a while. I think the rosters are loaded with talent. I think, not all the stories are hitting with everybody, but I think it's a cohesive. You can watch the show and it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. I do think one thing that might happen with Netflix, because it'll be commercial free for a lot of people, is it might go back to 2 hours. And I think Raw could go back to 2 hours when they go to Netflix because it'll be commercial free. I think Raw being 2 hours would be a big, good change.
Make SmackDown 3 hours.
They really could do that. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I want to circle back to Dustin's question, where it was like, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And JPJ, you were putting forward the idea that Netflix doesn't give a crap. Ultimately, you watch some Netflix. I watch some Netflix. There's all sorts of language going on there.
Yeah.
But here's the little caveat that I want to add on to that. WWE still has sponsors, and I'm assuming these sponsors are going to follow them to Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. So the sponsor still has a word, might not be comfortable if the F-bombs are being dropped right and left, even if they're on Netflix. They might go, Okay, we can't do this. We have a squeaky clean kind of presentation.
We'll
corporations
go back to the
sponsors-
Mellow Yellow days and the Slim Jim days,
and the 5-hour energy and all that.
Yeah.
So that's not what that's not what I'm purporting. But the idea is that I can absolutely see a sponsor being like, I can't endorse this. Sorry,
that's fair. That's fair.
And that might skew stuff. And the commercial free thing, I don't believe that. I think
WWE will have their own commercials. You mean?
Yeah, like they do with the pay-per-views.
The pay-per-views,
the PLEs, like they do right now, where they just drop them in the middle and they'll queue up 2 or 3, and then they'll because their audience is used to this now because of the PLEs, so they're not going to sit there and go, how come I'm getting commercials? Because I think in the minds of people, a commercial break is something that happens every quarter hour, right, on TV, and you have to sit there and watch Scrubbing Bubbles, or whatever.
Scrub Daddies. Well, plus, like, I don't know if you have Peacock Premium and you watch a PLE, you get
different ones depending on.
I don't have it, so they will, in between matches, they'll drop their commercials. Netflix now does have commercials. I don't know if they have a premium tier. I don't pay for that because I'm a baller on a budget. I'm cool with 30-second ads. So I'd imagine Netflix might be like, yeah, if you guys need that, we'll put the 30-second ads here. There might be still some tempo to that, I'm sure.
That's another good point, because there is a free tier on Netflix with ads. So I don't know why. Did WWE announce that it was going to be commercial free, or is it us speculating at this point?
I don't know if it was an official announcement, but I feel like the speculation was pretty strong that people were feeling that it was going to be.
I think people assume because Netflix shows don't have
but
commercial
technically,
breaks,
if it is the WWE's own commercials, the way they do it, then technically it would be. They could probably advertise that as commercial free because it's their own shit.
Because it's their own stuff when it's still commercials. But then on top of that, how are they going to integrate the Netflix ad-free tier? And then if they do that, maybe some of Netflix's sponsors might have a problem with it, which I would have a tendency to believe that might not be the case, because I watched Three Body Problem, and there's this scene where a whole bunch of people get slaughtered, men, women, and children. And I'm like, oh well, if there's ads running through this, I don't see what the issue is.
Yeah, and I think it was only for the people that pay for the premium Netflix. So obviously, I don't think it was for everybody. It was for those people that pay for ad free. So I guess it would depend on what your subscription is with Netflix. So that won't even be for everybody.
A great comment, Dustin. More sponsored segments throughout the show. They're already dressing up the shows like NASCAR.
Could be even more.
They'll just put even more. That's
a great shout out by Dustin. I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen.
Dash watches Bubble Guppies. I'm glad I'm out of the Bubble Guppies era, dude.
Wait, was that? Yeah, you still got some young ones. Was that?
Oh,
was
wow,
that part of
Dash, that's messed up. It's not part of the kids' rotation now, thank God, but it's a show for sure.
It's a mermaid. It's mermaids. It's
little mermaids. People. They count.
It's mermaids.
They count.
Is this for like super young kids?
Yeah, it's like a
what's the age range? He said 4 years old.
Type.
So like,
that's it. 4, 5, 6.
At what age do people move up to Bluey? When does that happen?
I don't know. We didn't.
Are you a Paw Patrol? Well, you got a Paw Patrol guitar, so that means you're Paw Patrol kids over there, man.
My older 2 kids were more into Paw Patrol. Like, here's the thing. I have this weird generational gap between like my teenage kids and then my younger kids, where like the teenage kids watched all those shows because that's what we watched, but all of a sudden YouTube has exploded and my younger kids only watch YouTube. We want to watch the YouTube, and it's like
Mr. Beast.
It's just people, just yelling and breaking stuff all the time.
That's what it is.
That's hard. Yeah,
I'm like, why is this kid's like, I bought a house and I'm gonna fill it up with my entire house with water.
That's why I don't watch some of YouTube's. I'm like, this kid's 11. How the hell does he have a house?
And then my kids are like, Dad, I can fill our house with water. And I'm like,
I'm never gonna own a house. I'm never gonna own a house. This kid's 11. He has a house. How?
Dude, my son threw half a piece of pizza away yesterday, and I was like, excuse me? What kind of money do you think we have?
We have Dash.
Well, I was done. I said I'd have eaten the rest of that.
We have Dash saying Dustin is definitely right, and probably a lot of product and logo placements to generate ad revenue.
So
we're
all
already
I'm
seeing
saying-
that with the. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. All I'm saying, in this regard, and all I'm saying is that just because they're moving to Netflix doesn't automatically mean that suddenly, we're breaking open the swear jar, never to use it ever again. They'll still have sponsors, but maybe they'll have sponsors that'll be cool with it. Maybe, or maybe their sponsors will still dictate what's going to happen.
All right, how
The only
about
way
this?
we're going to find out is when it happens.
We get one wrestler
Oh,
who
God.
gets a free pass for the swear jar on WWE programming. Who would you pick?
Maxine Dupree. It'd make her interesting.
Wow, that'd be amazing.
Wow, that was quick.
I was gonna say swear free.
I was gonna say Otis or Takira Tozawa. Any
Wow,
of that
so you
group,
guys
that
are
whole
going.
group.
I'm going top of the card. I'm looking at I think Drew
That's too easy.
Why? That's too easy. Punk.
Drew doesn't need it. Punk doesn't need it.
Yeah, they
No
don't
one
need it. We need
All
this.
right, how about all right.
If Maxine Dupree started walking around dropping F-bombs and S-bombs and all that,
What
you'd
about
be
Pete
like,
Dunne?
oh,
Give one of the Wyatt Six. Give one of the Wyatt Six Tourette's.
Yeah.
So that he can always curse.
Warren, I will ask. I know. I saw your when you talked about on screen.
The guy with the bunny hat, the guy with the bunny mask, right? He's going shit, fuck. Nowhere.
Oh no.
it's all super serious and ominous, and he's just in the background firing off F-bombs.
All right, I got to ask because we mentioned the Wyatts. Did you watch the Rowan thing? The Rowan thing?
I saw it on Twitter.
How'd you feel? Did I know in general, at least early on, I saw you weren't like super duper not your thing. I don't know if it's still not your thing, but just in general, I thought the Rowan tape, because of the realness factor to it, I thought it was excellent.
See, this is always my problem with WWE, is that everything is so phony and plastic, and it's weird to say in a business made up of phonies, and that is a phony business, that we're here going about. I want more authenticity in wrestling. It's not that I want more authenticity. I don't necessarily want honesty.
Yeah.
That's not, you know what I mean? But authenticity, yeah. And when Rowan has a heart-to-heart, well, as much of a heart-to-heart as it was, let's be, but yeah, it's a lot more compelling because he, outside of Bo Dallas, who else in this group has had actual interaction with Bray, on screen that we know of, and then has a deep connection with him? Of course, like Eric Rowan is intrinsically tied to him. So of course he's talking about it in a real manner, and it's poignant, and everyone goes, wow, this was great. Why was it great, JPJ? Because it was real, because it was authentic, because it was him speaking from the heart, not reading from a script and using slow cadence because the producers of this show believe you are all morons who read at a third grade level. It's like he's delivering something that's authentic, that's real. I liked it too. Like I have nothing bad to say about it. The guy's doing something. He wants to continue work that started from one of his friends. And this is a guy who lost two of his.
And I'm glad that they mentioned both of them. They didn't mention Brody,
absolutely.
but they didn't mention them by name, but they made reference to both Brody and Bray in there, which I thought was a nice touch. I mean, honestly, there were some lines in that, like even the ones where, he talks about how he lost his first brother in Brody, and then he talks about Bray, and then he says he was looking for his place, and he goes, and then I thought to myself, who's going to remember me? I'm just Rowan. And he says something like that, where like you look back on it, and in the original Wyatt family, like he was the third, like he was viewed by many as the third of the three. So when he says
let's
that
be
line,
honest.
it's like,
look,
my God,
Let's call the original trio for what it was. Bray was the glue. He's the charisma.
Yeah.
Brody was the worker.
Yeah.
And Rowan was the big guy. Even though they were all big guys, but
Rowan
that's
was
what it was.
Yes.
Brody was the worker. Brody was always a great worker.
Yeah.
And Bray, I think his work was fine, but not as good as Brody. And he had all the charisma and whatnot, Yeah. But Eric Rowan, though, I will always remember him for the spider bit. Like I will never
Oh no!
Don't worry, Eric. I will always remember you.
Yeah.
For that.
Oh man.
You mean
yeah,
the greatest moment in wrestling
I
history?
thought it was just well done. And then later on, though, they had their first, I guess you can call it an in-ring segment. I would guess they had, because they've been the last 2 weeks we have seen Bo Dallas in physical person. He was in Adam Pearce's office last week, and then this week he came out to the ring with Chad Gable when he called him out, and then we saw the Wyatt Six appear, and they were in the ring, and they had to pose off, and Bo got the absolute crap beat out of him by the Creed brothers. He was taking some gnarly looking bumps in that segment too, and he was laughing it off. He even at one point did a yeah, another tribute to Brody, which I liked in there. But they had the first ever kind of in-ring. They didn't get physical or anything like that, but the first ever in-ring segment where they had kind of a different entrance and
sure,
kind of their first thing,
Now, like you mentioned earlier, I don't follow the week to week on WWE unless there's like matches where people are like, you got to see this, or or stuff like the Rowan interview, or the Liv Morgan thing because everyone's sharing it. Have they addressed the fact that the Wyatt Six assaulted people backstage and there was murder? And have they? No. Okay.
No.
See,
I mean, there was a moment where Bo Dallas was in the office and Pierce walked in and shut the door, and you would think he would address it there, but it's Adam Pearce. He's a pushover.
He's having a tough time. He's having a tough time running the show.
This is why I understand why people get excited, but it's for reasons like this that ultimately in the execution, these far out stories, they always end up slipping up and creating these holes where you're like, yeah, but we saw the entire gorilla position assaulted. There was blood splatter.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Gable came back the other week with a Band-Aid on his head after being shot through the skull. Like, it's like, what? Okay. And no one's talking about this. No one's addressing this.
Literally 2 days later, he's cleared to wrestle. See,
2 days later, he
He'll
won a Money in the Bank preview match.
Yeah.
By the way,
can't
confirm Ophelia has never watched NWA.
And the idea and the idea with AEW with the authority angle is the same thing. It's to me it's the same type of story, which ultimately ends up with plot holes because now why are the Bucks still in power if Tony is back? Why is Christopher Daniels still around doing his Scrap Daddy imitation while Tony Khan is back? And so what happened? Can't the Bucks just decide things right and left? It stops making sense. And that's where I eject. I'm like, okay, I'm not wasting any brain power in this because if they're not, I'm not gonna either.
It's fair. We have Dustin says he wants Pat McAfee and Colt on commentary to get the swear jar pass. But he also asked a little earlier.
McAfee he says, don't need it either. He likes to toe that line.
He said,
I'm surprised he hasn't.
This is a good question. He said, on the subject of WWE, how and when do you think Orton will turn on Cody? Presuming he does, could it be as soon as SummerSlam? I thought before we kind of saw this unfold over the last couple of weeks, I thought the perfect story for Cody at SummerSlam would be him and Orton. It's the best story they can tell for Cody is Orton. It has it's the best story they can tell. But now, obviously, with what happened at Money in the Bank, you knew they were going Solo and Cody. They've made Solo. They fire shot him over the last 3 weeks. And I think what they did on SmackDown last week, now Orton's going to come back. He's going to blame Cody for that. He got his ass kicked. He got injured because he was helping Cody. They've already been teasing it for, he's looking at the belt all the time now, and he's talking about the championship, and everyone's going to be coming for you now, Cody. Yeah? What about you, buddy? You used to keep on warning me about everybody else. What about you?
What about you?
What
about you, Dad?
For Cody.
No, what about me?
Cody in WWE terms, Cody would not be in the WWE if it wasn't for Randy Orton. Randy Orton is the guy that brought him and DiBiase Jr. up to the WWE to be in his group and take him under his wing and go. That is the story. And now, if Cody,
did you forget
is
about
focused,
Dusty Rhodes? Jeez, dude.
no, I get it.
Wow.
I get it. But when you're talking what we've seen on our television screens, Randy Orton is essential.
What I've seen on my
Rhodes'
television screen is
character.
Cody Rhodes telling me that his dad is the reason he's here.
Well,
Not
that is,
Randy Orton.
that is obviously true.
Randy Orton.
Our dads are all the reasons why we're here.
I've never once heard him go, you know what? It wasn't for Randy Orton.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what Randy's going to remind him when he
Randy
drops
Orton going up to HR and is like, man, I just sniffed out this great young talent.
This
His
young
name
blue
is
chipper.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody
And
Rhodes, man.
he's tremendous. You should come see him. You should meet him. And the other guy's like, Cody Rhodes is in Dusty's
kid? Yeah,
Yeah.
Dusty's kid. That's what
He's
you're
been
talking
on
about.
our radar.
We don't know who he is. You don't think? Dusty's been talking about him since he came out the womb.
That would
Dusty
be
who? You know,
that would
Orton
be-
goes, what? Dusty who? Dusty who? Who are we talking about?
But
Dusty
I think
Springfield?
I don't think it
That
will
would be
happen.
hilarious, though, if
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes fell through the cracks of WWE talent scouts somehow, being Dusty's
Yeah.
kid.
And Randy's like, I found this kid. I don't know how he slipped through, but he's in my group now. We're called Legacy. I don't think it'll happen at SummerSlam because I think the big moment at SummerSlam is probably going to be the Roman Reigns return after that match. I think it happens the SmackDown after. Yeah, I think Dustin asked, when do you think Orton will turn if we are presuming he does? I don't think it'll be SummerSlam night, though, because I do think as much as
I have another
Oh,
surprise SummerSlam moment that I think we're all on the edge of our seats for. I think this is actually going to happen.
oh, here we go. I mean, would the spider not fit with the current? Like, would a spider not fit in kind of the vibe?
I hope he. Oh, whoops, wrong one.
No, that's not Spencer. That's not
Oh,
Spencer.
wrong one.
No, well, you don't have to.
Hey, Alberta's great. Viva Edmonton. Boy, that really sucks for the Oilers.
That was
really
uncanny.
good.
That
If
was
I
uncanny.
if I closed my eyes, I'd have no idea.
You wouldn't have known the difference. You
Hey,
wouldn't have known the
friend,
difference.
do you need a shoulder to lean
Yeah,
on?
Nito,
because of the Oilers-
Nito,
because
friend.
of the Oilers?
Spencer,
Neo,
did you
friend.
pop into the stream?
He did.
Oh, he should. He
Um,
should have a spider in part of his work. He should smash the spider with a hammer. With the
They
mallet.
already did that.
I mean, that's what happened, right? That's how they killed it. Did they not?
Did
They
he?
killed the
Yeah.
spider?
Do it
Yeah.
again.
They did kill the spider.
They killed the spider.
That robotic looking fakest ass spider
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Listen,
There was
I know.
good payoff to that thing. There was
yeah.
never
Listen,
anyway.
there were a lot of things that we dealt with under the previous regime.
The
Things
previous
like-
regime
Things
Prob-
like that.
probably watched Jungle to Jungle and was like, that kid had a spider and he was killer.
Man.
Let's give
Well,
a
they watched
spider-
Harry Potter and they were like, hey,
I've never. I don't
let's
know.
get one of these. Let's get one of these. That spider looked like it was one of the.
I
small
watch
spiders.
real cinema, dude. I don't watch
Wow.
that. What is
Wow.
that? Yeah,
You are going to get people on you.
I know my wife's gonna disown me.
Aren't all your cats named after Harry Potter characters?
Yeah, it's wild. I didn't name them.
Well, clearly.
So Harry, Hermione, Jeffrey, Carl.
Spencer goes, I do watch the show. You know. It is true. He does watch it.
I thought you were on the show, Spencer. I didn't even realize you weren't here.
I wasn't making fun of him.
I wouldn't
I didn't
either.
Sure.
Was I making?
No, nobody
fun
was making fun of him. No,
Imitation
we were
is
fine.
the biggest form of
It is
flattery, right?
Isn't that the sincerest form of flattery? Is that the
It is,
actual term?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, imitation
Correct.
is the sincerest form.
All right, so let's try. When do you think Randy Orton turns? We'll try to answer Dustin's question. I think it's the SmackDown after SummerSlam.
Well, listen. Okay, let's think in pay-per-views. Or PLEs.
There's SummerSlam, then there's SummerSlam Backlash, then there's
Summer, the next one. The next one is the
Clash at the
Jersey
Cash.
show.
The Bash at
Bash
the
in
Berlin is the
Berlin.
Bash in
one
Berlin,
after
right?
SummerSlam. Yes.
So I don't think they're going to burn a big main event for that. The European shows are essentially just like overproduced house shows, and that's fine. I don't think they burn a big main event there. Then we would go to War Games Survivor Series.
No, they brought
No?
September would be.
No,
Did they
September
bring-
would be Bash at the.
Oh yes, no, October they're bringing back Bad Blood. They announced in
Oh, yeah,
Cody's,
well-
in Atlanta with Cody. That would be a good spot. That'd be a good.
That
spot.
would. It's in Atlanta. Yeah, that would actually be.
in
that's-
Atlanta, Cody's
yeah.
home state.
That's
They got that
probably what they're
rapper
gonna
to do that thing with them, so you can tell they're going to make that a big deal.
Because the Survivor Series, I think everyone is expecting the Bloodline versus the Timu Bloodline, right?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I
that's.
think that's
That was an actual spit.
That was an actual spit.
That was an
take.
actual spit.
We didn't have to work. That was a
he didn't have to
shoot
go.
spit
Wait,
take.
say that again. That was an actual. That was
That
an
was
actual
a shoot one.
Wow. Wow. I think he's choking to death. I think honestly he's choking to death. I don't know what's going on.
Did you say the Timu bloodline?
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Timu
Timu
bloodline.
bloodline.
That was an actual. We got to clip that. You know how many
That's true.
times we've done that fake bit? That was not it.
No, that
You just
was
got to
a-
clip that and make that a video, so every time we can just play that video. Anyway, wow. But yeah, maybe Bad Blood. They stretch it out to Bad Blood.
Yeah,
That's
I think so.
That's in
I
October,
think so.
though. So when do you?
Because I was
drop?
like, well, they can pull the trigger on this anytime, you know, and
Yeah.
they can do, you know, they could do anything in the meantime with Cody. They could, you know, they could put him in a 6-man tag again. I mean, they did it last month. They could, you know, they can do just about anything.
This feels like a perfect
For me-
Royal Rumble with the two Royal Rumbles, like a match you put on that card.
I think that I think that for WWE fans, Orton and Cody is very meaningful.
Is that a
I
Mania
think the
match?
Roy-
Maybe.
No.
Okay.
Your I think they're your Mania matches. It probably involves Roman or The Rock. Let's have this conversation again in
A couple,
you know, in a couple of months.
yeah.
You know, I think it's a meaningful. I think it's a meaningful match for WWE fans, and they'd probably want it to not be overshadowed by the Royal Rumble match or the Bloodline Civil War, you know, which will probably be at War Games, honestly.
Yeah.
So I think Bad Blood might be a good moment to do it. It makes sense in the theme of the name, and look, they're doing this in Atlanta. Yeah, that's Cody's stomping grounds. So sure, why not?
That makes sense. That might make sense.
But we do have to talk a little bit about. Okay, let me ask you guys this: would you be? Let's say you bought a very expensive SummerSlam ticket, okay, months ago, because you're like, SummerSlam rules, product is hot. And the main event you're getting is Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, not thrilled.
Is
How are you
that
feeling
the
about
main
that?
event?
Yeah.
What is it going to be? Re and Live?
But I mean, it's
Priest and Gunther. Like that.
Punk
Cody
and
for
Drew
me,
is a bigger main
Punk-
event.
I would.
But
I
yeah,
would
no, I'm
agree.
with you. I
think
like
Punk and Drew
Solo
is the
Sikoa.
match.
I think they did him a huge disservice by they put him in this bloodline story, and he's not quite ready for it. And then they held Fatu out for a while because they were afraid he was going to overshadow him. And boy, did he.
guess
Guess
what?
what?
Boy,
Guess
did he!
what, buddy?
And it's worse now.
Guess what? My problem is I feel like
And it's the same song and dance that the original Bloodline did.
Yeah,
just
I
different
watched-
characters.
I watched Solo Sikoa in NXT, and he could cut a decent pro. Like he could talk down. I think the problem was they built Solo Sikoa to be this silent assassin that even Roman was skeptical of in the original Bloodline. Solo was always the guy that Roman would give a side eye to.
He's the Black Noir. You
Yeah,
watch The Boys?
he's that guy. I don't watch The Boys. I need to.
Okay.
I need to.
The
But
Black
he was
Noir.
he was that guy, and then he lost every match that he was in for a year.
Well,
For a year. And it was like, okay, like, no, because once, if this was the story that you're building this evil bloodline that Roman's going to come back and be the hero of all heroes and defeat the evil bloodline now, and Solo was always the choice, I don't necessarily hate how they're presenting Solo now, but he has absolutely no credibility with me because he
Lost
didn't win
34
shit.
matches.
He didn't win shit.
34.
Why am I?
He
why
was
am
like
I
one.
thinking-
He was like 1 in 34 before this Bloodline thing took off.
That's
So,
it.
you know,
That's
The
it.
last match he won was like the one against Cena.
he is.
Again, a good victory, but like when you're losing to fucking Wrestler X on SmackDown 2 weeks before that, what the hell does that matter?
I agree. I mean, if they trained their audience to believe that this guy is, he's not a threat. He's not someone who's going to win matches. Then all of a sudden they're like, we'll pull the trigger and do it. And this could work. It could have worked if Solo Sikoa was Dwayne Johnson. Just this bottled up charisma bomb that you uncork and then you're like, whoa, okay, we've unleashed Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa is tremendous. It would have worked that way because Rocky back in the day, that's exactly the thing. He was a loser. He was the job guy in the Nation of Domination, and the day they decided to go in on him, he just took the ball and ran. But it's Dwayne Johnson, like one of the greatest talkers to ever do it in pro wrestling, right? That's a whole other thing. And Solo Sikoa doesn't even have a fraction of that. Solo Sikoa is not credible, and he doesn't have the chops to elevate himself to that point. He's not a guy. He's not a main event guy. And I liked him in NXT as much as the other person does, but I was not among the people who were like, oh, he's going to be a next huge star, a big star. He's a nice, comfortable mid-card dude. And WWE is trying to convince him that he's not, but we know what the situation here is. And this is the other thing. We know what's happening. They're building a feud for Roman to come back so that he can build himself back up and probably come across more as a babyface. And we know what they're doing. So we're all just sitting around waiting. And that's what's going to happen at SummerSlam. Everyone's
100%.
just going to sit around and wait for Roman to show up. That's ultimately what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they won't give a shit about the match. I don't know why you'd give a shit about this match.
Yeah. And that's why it's
Who
going to be the
cares?
main event, because Cody's going to win. Maybe.
And here's the thing: is like SummerSlam is the 1B, right?
Yeah.
It's the 1B show, and this is the main event.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. And I think Cody somehow wins, keeps the title, because the big moment is Roman coming back maybe Roman comes back before the match is over and costs Solo. I don't know. I don't think Solo is going to leave SummerSlam as the world champion.
Oh,
I would hope
think
not.
so.
But
I
the
don't think
moment is not Cody retaining. The moment is Roman returning.
Exactly.
That's the
exactly
moment.
it.
And I think that's why with the stuff that we've said about Solo as well, but I think that's where the problem lies, because the intrigue is not the main event of your 1B show. The intrigue is the hope still that the thing we think is all going to happen, which is Roman coming back, is happening to end the show. And I think that does a detriment.
Exactly. And
We're
just going to be there waiting for it. We're going to be waiting for that to happen. We're just going to be like, okay, do your spots, fellas. Get to the thing, kind of thing.
Yeah, you get to the thing.
Warren, you get to the thing.
Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the Mr. Warren Hayes show. Yeah.
There we go. Hi, Kristen. Welcome in.
Hello.
Welcome in. We got to get her on the screen at some point on this show.
Kristen is recovering from oral surgery.
Oh, very nice. Well, I hope it's
earlier
okay.
today.
I hope it's not too painful. Those can be a bitch sometimes.
What if Roman doesn't come back at SummerSlam?
Okay. Well, now I was at Money in the Bank.
I haven't mentioned them at all in the last few weeks, right?
Yeah. I thought Money in the Bank was a good show, but I think the fact that we found out that 6-man was going on last created a story in because we are wrestling fans. We enjoy stories. That's why we love this shit, a lot of us. But like, it created a story in everyone's head. Well, if that's going on last, then guess what? Something big is happening.
Yep.
And nothing big happened. They just used it as a position to make Solo look like a credible challenger for Cody, which didn't work 100%. I think they've done a pretty decent job the last couple of weeks to make Solo look more formidable. But
it's Solo Sikoa, man. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like he's not a guy. He's not a main event guy. He's just not. They don't have faith in him. He's just a pawn in this story to get Roman back over. And I mean, it's the point is that it's fine. Like it's fine. And Solo's going to go back to his mid card role, and we will, we'll probably forget all about this. But like I appreciate what you're trying to say, and when you say, I feel like they did a little bit, but they really didn't, because the guy himself is not a top guy. He's just not a top guy. He doesn't come across as one at all.
Yeah.
Like, and in this role that they have with him, it reminds me of John Travolta and Gotti. You know, who was John Travolta being the most unconvincing mob boss of all time. It's just.
And then
good evening, Cole. Sports
and then
Corner.
we have Dustin saying, do you think Jacob Fatu is already overshadowing Solo, not just in ring but in general? And then he asked, is he good on the mic? He hasn't heard him speak much.
Yes, actually, he's got this wildness about him, right?
Better than Solo.
Oh God, he's better than Solo. Like, no, I think that anyone who's seen Fatu and on the Indies and MLW knows anyone who knows what he's capable of is like, yeah, of course. Like, even before he was signed, it was like, he's going to overshadow the Usos. He's charismatic. He's explosive. I think he's very good. He's a very, and with all the weight that he's dropped, because that dude
he did all that stuff
huge.
Yeah.
And he dropped a ton of weight. I would love to know how much he ended up dropping, because the first time when he popped up on that, what was it, on a SmackDown that he showed up the first time? I don't remember. Yeah. And I was seeing the clips. I was like, holy crap.
Lean and mean.
And
speaking of dropping weight.
Oh,
go ahead. I was going to just you got another point. I was going to make a perfect transition to Rhea Ripley dropping Dominic Mysterio.
I do want to talk about that real quick before we get out of here. But I thought what they did on SmackDown last week with Jake, because he was in the 6-man at Money in the Bank, and he was the MVP of that match. He was great.
Sure.
But that showcase that they gave him on SmackDown last week, where he came out and he beat the crap out of the two tag teams, and he did his little flip moonsault off the rope, the springboard moonsault, and then he did the double jump moonsault, and he took out like 4 dudes before Solo and the Bloodline came out. I thought that showcase they gave him, because, like, dude, that guy
tremendous.
Is unbelievable. And that guy, even at that size, and he was doing it when he was a lot bigger. That is crazy that he can move like that and do that type of shit. And that is nuts. And I thought that it was a good showcase, but because he was great in that 6-man and he did a lot of stuff, but he didn't showcase that stuff in that 6-man that much. And I thought that showcase they did for those few minutes on SmackDown last week was like, that's what we're dealing with here, guys. That's what we're dealing with. He's a next level type guy.
I think it's absolutely fair to say that he's overshadowing Solo. He's overshadowing everyone else in the Temu bloodline right now.
Yeah, 100%.
I like Tama Tonga enough. That's not the issue. I think he's fine. Maybe I'm a little. I am. It's not even maybe. I'm a little worn out of seeing Tama Tonga, because I've watched a lot of New Japan, and I think he had run his course. I think he's fine. He's not a bad wrestler. Explosive. That's always been his thing. Like, the explosive nature of what he does. But I think Fatu is more well-rounded. He's not as banged up as Tama either. And Tonga Loa stinks. So I'm glad WWE fans are finding that out with the rest of that, what the rest of us already knew. That Tonga Loa stinks. He just stinks, and he's always stunk. He's always been bad. He's always been a bad pro wrestler.
Sure. You didn't want to mention Rhea.
We put her in the title of the show.
We did
nothing about her return.
Well, she came back a couple weeks ago, looking great, looking fantastic. Big baby face now. I feel like I kind of like what they're doing, though, with like her and Priest are becoming baby faces right in front of our eyes a little bit. And they're still part of the Judgment Day, but like them two are buddy and friendly, and they're like the ones that are like,
they're not like the Temu Judgment Day.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, Damian Priest was basically a babyface on Monday. Gunther, I know we're talking about Rhea, but like that whole thing with Gunther and that promo, which a lot of people felt a certain way, I thought it was a perfect heel promo. Guess what? He's a bad guy. He's a piece of trash human being.
Well, I didn't miss the promo. Was the gist of it?
Oh, so Gunther,
he's basically like, I had everything.
Okay. What did people get upset about?
They got upset because Gunther talked about Damian Priest being poor and from the streets, and he called him street trash.
Sure.
And they were like, "Whoa, that's a bad."
great.
I saw a lot of people like, "It's a bad look," and I'm like, "Listen, it's wrestling.
is it a bad
There's
look?
stories. If you watch movies, the bad guys in movies."
I'm sorry.
pour
Why is this
people
a bad?
I-
Why is it a bad look?
People were upset about it. Some people were saying it was a bad
Because they
look for
wanted
the
more
promo.
Dom and Liv sex sessions.
That might be
makes
true.
sense to me.
But I thought it was a good heel promo where Gunther was basically like, "You know what? You did grow up on the streets. You did have bad. He said you must have had bad parents." He goes, "Because my parents were great and they gave me everything." And he goes, "So you might be happy that you're from the streets, but just like these people here, no matter what, come SummerSlam, I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to prove to everyone that you are nothing more than street trash."
Isn't that
Isn't
what they called Aladdin? They called Aladdin that.
That's a good heel promo.
He turned out okay.
Can
He
you
got a
imagine?
magic carpet and he
I
won
had
the
no problem.
princess. And
Think about. Can you imagine? Let's go back to 1988, 1989. People today could not deal with Ted DiBiase.
No.
$1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. They just could not do. He had kids doing shit in the ring, like he was, pulling
Like actual children.
Actual children and pulling hundos away from them because, kid, you didn't do it.
He would kick the basketball as they were on their 5 dribbles for $100.
Right,
1,
that's
2, 3,
and then he kicks the
ball.
basketball.
Yeah, kick the ball.
I
You lost,
mean,
kid. Get out of here, squirt. Like,
hit the
that
bricks,
type of stuff.
I mean, he was tremendous. That was tremendous heat.
Yeah.
It's
But-
fine.
Yeah,
It's
and then
fine.
and then
Gunther's
Priest
a
cut,
heel.
Yeah, and then Priest cut a good promo, to answer him back, saying like he's proud where he came from. He's gonna. To me, it was like this is just, and I get it. Priest is a heel. We've only seen him as a heel for the most part, but it was clearly that it was Gunther is the asshole and Damian Priest is the guy we want you to root for at SummerSlam, kinda. Even though we know he's kind of a bad guy, but we're gonna make him sympathetic. He's one of you. He's a regular guy. Type thing. That's what they were going
You're
for.
all right. Yes.
I had no problem with. I don't
Make
know why
it
some
personal.
people. Yes,
there's
I had no. I
personal
don't know why some
issues.
people were up in arms about that, but I thought it was great.
So weird. Make issues personal. It's always good when issues get personal and look at Adam Page and Swerve. On the other side. I mean, it's a personal thing, and it feels.
Swerve tried to
like a
steal his
vendetta.
baby.
Yeah, it should be the main event at All In.
Oh well, we're supposed to talk about Rhea now. I believe,
We are.
right?
So Rhea Ripley, our last way getting out of here. Rhea came back a couple weeks ago, to a roarous pop as we would expect, and she is going after Liv Morgan. They've made it official at SummerSlam. She will be fighting Liv Morgan for the women's title. Obviously, this story is basically the main storyline. This and Drew and Punk are the two main top storylines on Raw. Rhea is back. Full-on babyface. Now Dom is kind of gone. Jey Uso on Raw kind of threw his name, and they kind of made that little connection on Raw with Rhea and Jey Uso a little bit at the end. So I don't know. Dom
How
is
does
trying
Jey Uso keep failing up?
Jey
I'm
Uso.
asking this seriously.
Here's my thing with Jey Uso. We've been trying to talk about Rhea, and then we always end up talking. Pluggo, go. Pluggo, you
we
go.
like Rhea.
All I'm
There's really
gonna
nothing to
say
talk
is
about.
the man keep putting him in these big spots, and he keeps losing.
Never
and
win.
now his big thing now is he wants Rhea, and I think they're gonna do it at least.
He made it clear, abundantly clear in a backstage segment. He walked right in and he was like, Rhea's
He
single.
goes,
Give
let
her
me
my
holler.
number. Let me holler at that. Give her my number.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. And then at the end of Raw, when Rhea was leaving, they did a camera angle where she looked back in the ring and Jey Uso did this. And he said, call me. And she did a smirk of a smile as she walked to the back, and Raw went off
That's
the
so
air.
corny.
And I was like, okay. I was like, they're going to run with that a little bit. I think they're going to run with it.
But I legitimately don't understand how Jey Uso keeps failing up in this company because, his WrestleMania match was a bomb.
Ooh,
His match with Damian Priest was not good. He's the least interesting guy in the Money in the Bank thing. I legitimately do not understand what people see in this guy. I really don't. I don't understand what they see in this guy. I don't
Entrance
think
is a banger.
His entrance is fun. He's got a good catchphrase.
And honestly, that's really all you need in WWE to succeed. That's
Some
really
people, yeah.
all you do.
Yeah.
And and like his work doesn't follow. I think he's snoozing through things until Roman comes back and Roman reunites with his.
And I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem.
I think that he's so safe. I don't even think he's trying. These are routines that he's doing.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything fun. I remember when the Usos were fun. You guys remember when the Usos were fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they finally ditched the face paint and they started doing that was electric. That was good stuff. And then they get in the ring and they wrestle like madmen. And then we'd have the great Young Bucks or Uso arguments, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No one would have this argument these days. I know the Usos aren't a team anymore, but Jay is such a bore. He's such I don't understand what people see in him. I really, really don't. Every time I see him on the PLEs, I'm like, okay, here we go under the Liver City. So honestly, I'm not surprised if they want to try and keep him up there with Rhea, because Rhea will carry whoever, whichever wet paper bag she's saddled with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she did it with Dom, and she'll do it with Jay, and she can get anyone over because she is a true superstar.
Yeah, true.
I think that they push Jay down our throats, and not to say it's not working to the extent that he's over with.
Look, he's over. They got the foam finger now.
Could you imagine a situation where the bloodline, like Roman loses to Cody at Mania, the bloodline completely falls apart leading up to that, and not one of those guys in his bloodline became a star? We'd be like, because they're pushing Solo and it's not working, and then it's like, well, Roman, are these guys really that good, or did they need you?
Well, okay, go ahead, JPJ.
Well, I was going to say I will speak because I know.
Yeah, you will.
To me, when I used to watch the Usos, I'm Italian. You know, I've been fighting for airtime my whole life. When I used to watch the Usos back in the day, I never thought in the wildest dreams that either of them would be solo stars. And so the fact that Jay Uso is at the level he is, whether, you know, I know Warren says he doesn't understand but like, I never thought he would even be here to begin with. So I guess that's somewhat of a success that he is where he is and he's this over. But like, for me, he's got to win. Like, you have to tell me. Yeah,
they keep putting him in these spots.
Show me why this guy matters.
That's the point. Exactly. That's the point.
It's brutal.
But exactly. I'm with you. You have to. There's a reason why this guy should be pushed, but it's not, and he always gets these opportunities, and I'm left there scratching my head and go, why Jey Uso all the time when he always underdelivers? And the only explanation we have, and we just had this discussion, is people really like his entrance.
Like when he lost to Gunther, when I think he should have maybe beat him at that spot, I was like, it's done. Why are we even like, he doesn't?
Who cares?
Right? It's like, well. And then he's like, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank. And I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, but he was the one on all the posters and everybody's saying he's the favorite. He's going to win. He's going to do.
And he's not.
No.
That world title match. No, you're not. Oh,
yeah, he's just not. And
they're keeping him. They're keeping him for Roman from when Roman returns and gets all the band back together. And you were saying, Pluggo, you were saying, was Roman's bloodline all that good because no one became a star? And the bloodline was never about making stars. It was in kayfabe. It was about Roman being an insecure little human being, trying to elevate himself off of the backs of others. That was his thing. It was never about making stars.
But after they break up, if none of them are any good, it's like,
well, there you go.
See, it told us. They weren't. What's Jimmy doing? I mean, he's hurt. What's Jay's losing all the time? Solo's fumbling through this new bloodline thing.
It's like, why did they bring in Jacob? You know, what's going to happen when Hikuleo shows up? You know, that's what he's sweating through it every night. Christ, because Hikuleo's so much. It's going to be stunning to see Hikuleo next to Solo. He's not that tall a guy.
Yeah, Hikuleo's a tall man.
He's a legitimate tall man.
Yeah. And it's going to be, By the time we get there, it'll be Roman. He's bringing back the Usos. Sammy will probably be on board as well, and
You'll get
it's going to be
Paul Heyman. Everyone's going to be really
they're all
happy.
going to come back, and it's going to be this
It's
grandiose
gonna be
thing.
Team
and-
WWE versus the New Bloodline.
Basically what they're going to do.
I'm
but
really curious to know what they're going to do with the Temu bloodline once the real bloodline comes back and reestablishes itself, because I think that's the path that they're going to go down.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with all the Tongans that they hired?
They're gonna do this.
They're going to have Jacob Fatu running around with a spider instead.
I mean, I would think, I don't know, like, I've seen a few people say, like, well, when Roman comes back after he's done with the bloodline, I would think that Roman will go on whatever show that Cody is not, because I don't think you would want them on the same show.
Not until WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you would want them on the same show, because obviously SmackDown has been Roman's yard since,
I get what you're saying, but remember when we had to figure out how to get them on the same show for
I know.
WrestleMania last year, and it got all weird.
But I feel like once this happens, you do the bloodline, then Roman should go to Raw for Netflix.
Hey,
let Roman be the guy on Netflix, and Cody will run. I don't know.
That's going to be interesting, though. Like,
they're going to need someone big for, like, Cena will be at that Netflix debut. Obviously, they announced his retirement tour. He'll be there, but you need one of those two guys needs to be on that show, in my opinion.
But
it's got to be. I would think maybe Roman.
SmackDown is going to I don't think people are talking enough about how SmackDown is going to take a hit just by moving back down to cable.
Yeah, it's going to move to USA in the States. So
and WWE ending up on Friday nights, which is not the usual night that USA is used to, which is Mondays. And I'm sure USA is at the very least expecting SmackDown to perform on the same level as Raw is now, but on Fridays, there's going to be a hit that's going to be taken there.
I mean, USA is also in the States. They're losing NXT too. Now I know those ratings are not what Raw and SmackDown.
No, but that's still
that's a Tuesday night slot of guaranteed viewership that is gone.
Yeah,
so USA
is
losing Raw on Mondays, losing NXT on Tuesdays. They're getting Friday Night SmackDown, but Friday Night SmackDown ain't going to be coming in with the close to 2 million people they're getting on Fox, because Fox usually has a good lead in, and it's Fox. So that's a dramatic dip.
But even
USA
2 million on
WWE
a Friday for
SmackDown.
Fox is low.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to see how it's all going to play out.
So how you say, Cena's got to be on Netflix? Does he?
Maybe not. I guess. But
maybe he needs to be more on the show that will still be measured by Nielsen ratings. Because don't forget that for the first time in decades, we're not going to get any Raw ratings. We're not going to know how it's performing. We'll have no clue.
What did Triple H say? We have the access to 80 million homes worldwide now, is what he said.
Which is true. Which is absolutely true.
Because NXT making that move and going to the CW opens them up to a lot more households, at least in America. A lot more people have CW than have USA. A lot.
Really? Okay.
It's available
I don't know all the ins and outs, but I saw some graphic from somebody at the show that they were promoting the move to Netflix, and they also had the SmackDown logo and stuff. Are they going to get the next day rights like Hulu has, or is Netflix?
Well, Netflix
not until
worldwide. Everything's going to Netflix, I think.
Yeah. Worldwide,
it's only the States where we still have to go to 3 or 4 places.
I wasn't 100% sure, because I know right now, if I miss a show, I can go to Netflix and watch it the next or Hulu and watch it the next day.
So everywhere besides the 80, like Dustin says, 80% of the world will have access to WWE programming with the Netflix move, because not everywhere, but
they will also have access to
States.
Orange is the New Black. Hot Rod, I think, is on there. How I Met Your Mother's on there right now.
I mean, at least tell them the good stuff. Though Hot Rod's amazing.
House of Cards.
House of
Cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what else is on there? Stranger Things, if you're into spooky stuff a little bit. Stranger Things.
Is it real or is it cake?
Yeah, that's on there. That's on there. You're one of the greatest shows of all time. Great British Bake Off is on there. One of the
Floor or Lava.
Shows.
The Floor is Lava is on there. So when you're done watching the Temu Bloodline, you switch on over to Is It Real or Is It Cake with Mikey Day.
Yeah, there's some good shows on Netflix. If you want to get dark, they got some good shows. Ozark is a excellent.
Ozark was great.
Ozark was an excellent show. but it is heavy.
Tremendous.
It is heavy.
Seinfeld's on there, if that's
yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
Is
Yes. Well, see, again, for Canadians, it's different though, Plug. We have it on our American Netflix, but I think it's
I got a
different.
VPN.
Oh, there you go. Well, yes, the whole series of Seinfeld is on there for us Americans.
Do you have a NordVPN perchance? Because that's what we.
I don't. See. I didn't mention which one because I didn't want to interfere with the sponsorship.
It's okay. Pluggo, go ahead. Let the people know about NordVPN.
We have, if like you said, if you want to watch American Netflix, which it sounds like you don't. So if you're in Canada, and you want to watch Canadian Netflix in America, you need a VPN. NordVPN's got your back.
Yeah.
You change your virtual location wherever you may be. If you want to get things cheaper. And we discussed this a few weeks back. My state was implementing some rules that I don't think has fallen through yet. I don't know.
It hasn't happened yet.
Don't ask me how.
Research.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Warren, I don't know if you heard this, but in Indiana, where Pluggo is from,
they are requiring driver's license information to go to sites that are adult or 18 and over sites.
You need to enter your license information to go on that website.
Stupid.
No idea.
They haven't started it yet, but it's coming up. But anyway, go over to NordVPN. Tell them Love Wrestling sent you. You can get your virtual location change, safe security when you're out and about. Protects you if you want to go into a situation where there's Wi-Fi. Those are easy.
Look, I'm going to be in Cleveland. I'm going to be traveling to Cleveland to meet this guy for the first time in real life and cover SummerSlam. And guess what? I'm going to be bringing my home Wi-Fi with me on my phone and on my laptop and stuff like that because
are you
NordVPN? Yeah, you're damn right I am. I mean,
because it doesn't trust your connection, Pluggo.
No, I'm not.
That's fair.
It's fair. I don't want no shoddy hotel Wi-Fi when I can bring my home Wi-Fi with me and know my settings and know all my stuff, and it's safe and secure, and I'll be safe, and I'll be covering the show. But if I said I was from somewhere else in the world, maybe it would be even cheaper than I have to pay to have Peacock and do all that stuff. Who knows? But that's what NordVPNs they can do. They can do it for you. But anyway, on that note, Warren, always a blast.
Oh God, this
always
is fun.
a blast.
Can we do an extra hour? No, we're done.
Yeah,
do
whatever you want.
I'll do whatever you want. I'll go an extra hour. You want to go
What
Broadway?
else you want to talk about?
What else you want to talk about?
Did we really talk about Rhea?
No. Should we? Should we actually give Rhea her moment?
I mean, she is on the thumbnail. She's on the thumbnail.
We didn't really give Rhea her proper due diligence.
We did that like 2 weeks ago where we didn't talk about.
It's probably like the fourth or fifth time that we had a thumbnail and we just don't end up talking about the person on the thumbnail because we're just talking about so much.
But she's back. She's going after Liv. She's gonna beat that ass. She says she's taking her career. She's gonna take her career. Can you believe that? Because Liv is just dastardly. But it's great. It's great to have Rhea Ripley back on my TV screen. She, like you said, she's a bona fide star. She's absolutely fantastic. I don't know. I hope that she's 100%. I hope they didn't rush this back just for SummerSlam because I want to see a fully healthy Rhea Ripley dominate again. Do we think she wins in the return match at SummerSlam? Because it's been pretty proven that if you lose your title, you don't want it back the first time. If you lose it in the, have to relinquish it. You know what I mean? Would it be too much of a layup to go Rhea's winning at SummerSlam? She's taking that thing back, or do you think Dominic messes it up? Or
do you want more? Do you want more Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vegas?
I mean, don't get me started on Zelina Vega because every time she sits there and she goes, "My sole motivation is that title." I'm like, you ain't winning that thing. We all know it.
No, we all know
you're fine. You're okay. Whatever. But you're telling Sonya Deville, I ain't worried about the three of you that could rip me limb from limb. I'm worried about winning the women's world title. You ain't winning that thing.
No, she's not. She's absolutely not. What are we doing? No, she's
be realistic, right?
I mean, yeah.
I'm not a singer. Just because I sang on this show doesn't mean I'm a singer.
I'm not a fan of Liv. Like, I think Liv is fine. She's passable. I'm shocked that they gave her another run with the belt because I thought her original.
I don't think they were gonna.
She stunk. And the way she was booked during her initial title reign just screamed, "We do not have confidence in this person," right? Because she was losing matches, she was eating shit from Ronda Rousey. She sneaked the win out of Ronda, which it's like, okay, these are all clear signs that whoever's booking Vince didn't believe in her for a second. So I was shocked that they did it, but then again, it's not as if she's been defending it every week. She hasn't been a fighting champion. She's just been walking around and, doing pretend sex on TV. That's essentially what she's been doing. I'm not a live guy. Get it off of her as soon as possible. Rhea's the star. Everyone in that women's division should be working to putting two people over, and it should be Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Those are your two legitimate top tier, absolute like media busting superstars.
Yeah,
that's who everyone should be putting over.
I've always said that Liv Morgan is like the Dolph Ziggler of the women's division without the work rate. Because there's just like, here, you go into this storyline. We're just kind of using you right now as a stopgap. In a lot of ways, this is the most compelling stuff she's done because it's the most talked about, the most interesting. But yeah, give it to Rhea, man. I made this like, this is the women's division. There's some good talent in it, and it's cooking a little bit, and they're still without some top faces. Wait till Becky comes back, Asuka, Alexa Bliss. You got Charlotte Flair still on the shelf.
Alexa Bliss, correct? Okay, I legitimately forgot about Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I really did.
How dare you?
I dared. I forgot about her.
Grow up, Warren.
No, but I mean, they have elements in place right now that for some reason they're just. Look, I understand. Look, Rhea got injured, so that's fine. It gets sidetracked. Bianca, I have no idea what they're doing. Like,
I mean, to me,
Bianca is going to get a shoulder injury from carrying Jade Cargill as much as she.
Well, I was going to say that's what they're doing with Bianca. I think they're just hanging on with them as a team until they feel like Jade is ready to do that one on whatever that happens.
Gee, I thought she was ready to go. She got all this perfect training at the PC and corrected all the things that AEW couldn't correct, with her. And I thought she was ready to go. And it's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
What were you saying? Yeah. No.
You covering Jade? Yo, Tyler, what's going on? Thanks for popping in the chat, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what it feels like to me. Is they're like, well, we're gonna do that one-on-one match when one of them turns on the other, and they're just kind of waiting
be
for
at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
Probably, and I get it, and it's fine, but. I've had this discussion so much with so many people, okay, like, person for person, right? Bianca, Jade, both, similar athletic builds, both extremely charismatic women, but like one of the two is still very young and is a very good pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And already gets everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jade, how many years has she been at this now? Like, this has got to be her fourth year?
Yeah, fourth, I would say, about there.
It's still rookie, right?
Yeah.
But in the positions that she's being put in, you can't sit back and like, oh, this is a rookie match. They're giving her airtime. They're giving her titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at some point, you have to be like, okay, well, Jade Cargill is an unfinished product. She's, how old is she? 34, 35? Like, this is a what you see is what you get situation. Not everyone is Diamond Dallas Page and starts wrestling at 32 years old or whatever, and then suddenly becomes this prodigy.
Remember
I think he was.
Remember when she said she left AEW because she couldn't grow with a growing company because she's 31, and now she's probably going, please let me grow a little bit before this established company goes.
I think at not Money in the Bank, but at
I like Jade a lot. I'm a huge Jade fan.
The show in Saudi was a rough one for Jade.
It's not.
She had a rough match.
I didn't
missed a couple spots.
Okay.
It was just a rough match, and you could tell there was like a gif or there was something going on where, as they were leaving the ring, at one point you can tell Jade is distraught by her face, and Bianca literally taps under her chin and like saying like, keep your head up, it's fine. and you can see Jade like get kind of a boost from and that was just Bianca being a human. That wasn't a character thing. That was just Bianca being, hey man, we know, I know you're not happy, but keep your head up. We're good. We're here. Keep your head up. But it was a rough match for Jade, and they've really we haven't seen her a ton since that wrestle. So I think that was kind of maybe let's not go too hard here, people.
And it's not a question to just be. I'm not trying to be mean to Jade. It's just okay. Well, if everyone's going to insist that this wrestler is going to be a presence and is going to be an eventual pushed commodity, because it's a little push that she's getting right now. If she's going to be this push commodity, then we all have to just be super honest with ourselves, put our arms around each other's shoulders and say, well, you know what, folks, what we see is what we get with Jade. This is it. This is it. And as soon as, and if she suddenly improves, then I'll be the first to cheer. I will be the first at the front lines to go, God damn, Jade, you did it. This is tremendous. Like you just got a 3.25 star match. I'm not asking much. I'm not asking for much, and I'll be the first happy for her. But I don't think she has it. And outside of the look, outside of the charisma, I really don't think she has it. It's a shame, but I don't think it. And I think WWE realizes it, because otherwise they'd be having her walking out of limousines every week.
Yeah, 100%.
Step into Bailey at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And they got the Bailey stuff going on with Nia now has the championship match at SummerSlam, but now you got the Tiffany Stratton briefcase, and they started the Nia Jax Tiffany kind of friendship over the last month. So now it's I think she was the right choice to get the briefcase. Tiffany was, but now it's like, do you?
I'm just glad Tiffany Stratton got a big win, a big win on a WWE show. Because anyone who saw that at Elimination Chamber, she was the star. Like she 100%. Outshined everyone, and she did some great work at Money in the Bank as well. Mm-hmm. Even she was very good. Like it was funny because I was doing my review, and I was doing my review for my podcast, and then I re-listened to stuff for a bunch of reasons, for clips, for just what improvement and all of that, being critical about yourself. And I was listening to it, and I'm like, outside of saying Naomi was in the match, I did not say a single thing about Naomi because she was such a non-factor in this match, outside of the splits.
I was going to say the split thing was really her moment there.
I would have had Tiffany win. That's where I was angling.
Yeah, and then
it was a good move too.
Yeah, it was. And I thought, the last couple spots of that match, obviously the Michinoku driver, EO to Zoe,
fantastic.
My God,
beautiful.
My God. And then right after that, you get the throwback spot, the TNA throwback spot with Chelsea and the tail. It was good. Yeah, it was just good. It was a good finish to that match and stuff like that. I think, the women's division, you want to talk about right now, NXT, they have Julia waiting in the wings. They just got Stephanie Vaquer, who already was in house shows over the weekend. They say she's going to NXT waiting in the wings. And I don't know if you know this professional. I don't know much about her. If I wasn't friends with Josh Robinson, who's from Australia, I would not know who Delta is. Mm-hmm. But there is rumors.
Kristen talks a lot about Delta to me.
Josh has shown me a couple matches. 100% gonna be a star. 100%.
And she's special. She's got something.
And the rumor is that she is heading there as well. She's pulled out of indie dates and stuff like that. Like NXT, you can make an argument and they're developing. A lot of them are developing, but they have a pretty strong women's division down there already.
Do they?
Now
there it is.
I would listen.
If it was so strong, JPJ, why did they have to bring Jordan Grace from TNA to come over to fight for champion? Jesus, man, it can't be that good. They have no faith.
I would say,
grow up.
when I say strong, maybe I mean it more from like a term of like
You're not wrong. It's
I don't
deep.
think they have I think they have strong depth. Like I think they don't have any super duper stars, maybe besides Roxanne, I think, down there right
Is she
now.
a super duper star?
I think she can't. I think they're treating her like one. I think she's living up to.
I can't tell if he's just fucking with you or if he
No, he
actually
means-
is.
No, I'm not.
No, it's fine.
I prefer her as a
We're having
baby
friendly
face.
debate.
I prefer her as a baby face to a heel, but I think they are treating her like she is the star of the women's.
I'll tell you, I prefer Roxanne Perez when she was in
There we
Ring
go.
of Honor as the women's champion because I find she's regressed in
That's
NXT.
fair. That's fair.
And I think the NXT roster is the most overrated women's
Really?
roster in pro wrestling today.
All right.
I think it. Look, we're all talking about Julia coming in and Vicar. They haven't wrestled yet, so
That's fair.
I'm not talking about them. I haven't seen them wrestle
Mhm.
in NXT. But this is the most. I believe it's the most overrated women's roster and of any, even within WWE and anywhere else. I mean, listen, Julia's coming in. That's exciting. Who is she going to fight? Izzy Dame? You know, like
It's fair.
the number of is Julia going to go through a gymnastics routine with Kalani Jordan? I can tell you, I know what the answer is. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
You know, what are these girls going to do? These NIL ladies, what are they going to do when Julia starts throwing shoot headbutts?
It's fair.
You know, are they going to go back and tell Shawn Michaels and she hit me with real head with her head? And is Shawn Michaels going to go scold Julia?
You go, look at my eye, kid. I've taken plenty of those.
You know, and Vicar, I think Vicar is going to adapt perfectly. I think that's not going to be an issue. And, you know, a lot of her presentation is she's going to be fine. But again, who do I want to see her fight? And here's every WWE fan right now is super excited. They said Julia and Stephanie Vicar in the same roster. They're going to fight. Hey, they've had a fight before, and they don't have chemistry. It was not a great match. It did two women doing two different things in this match. It was not good. So I'm shrugging. I'm going okie dokie. And then Roxanne Perez, who I think is way overrated. Like people say she's a prodigy. How long has she been in NXT now? 3 years, something like that.
Yeah,
something to that effect. A prodigy. If you're a prodigy within 3 years, you're already a star. Like if you are a legitimate prodigy, people are taking notice and go, okay, this person is a star. This person, that's how it works. Roxanne is.
I know something about that life.
I don't know. Like I feel like the NXT women's roster is not even a fraction as good as people make it out to be. They've been sitting on one of the best workers that they have on that roster in Wendy Chu for how long now? Ever since the spooky Chinese gimmick fell apart, right?
Yeah.
Since then, they've been sitting on that woman who has always been a tremendous wrestler. And I wouldn't be surprised that she's in the next series of cuts because they're not doing anything with her. And it won't be her fault because she never had a chance.
Yeah.
They never gave her anything to do. But in the meantime, they're putting on Brian Pillman Jr. getting distracted by Carl Fredericks doing DJ sounds, right? Like, anyway, I'm going into another lane, but nonetheless, the women's division in NXT is completely overrated. And if people just calm down, if everyone just calmed the fuck down instead of always saying, it's great, they're tremendous, Sol Ruka and Kalani Jordan was the greatest thing ever. It's okay sometimes to just say, you know what, this was fine. You know,
I thought,
and then give the acclaim to these women when they actually do great things, when they've progressed, and you're like, you know what, they started here and now they're all the way up here, instead of this
immediate. Yeah,
I think you're
missing to be like, if it's not great, it's not good. You know?
I think you're missing one big point, Warren. Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka was on a PLE.
It's true.
So it was amazing by default.
It's true.
It's like, what the hell is he talking
But
about?
I think when that match happens 2 years from now, it'll be like I had no problem with the match. I thought it was fine. I know
Had
what
they
were
done
doing.
that on just the CW, it wouldn't have
That match would have sucked. That match would have sucked. They would have blew it and wasted it on free television.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what would have happened. But I think that match happening 2 years from now, I think you would think with
are you
growth,
cool
like you
with
said.
the new women's North American title? Are you good with them having a belt to at least fight over, or is that just more of a prop in your opinion? Okay.
I think too many titles is stupid. Whichever way you go about it. I don't know. Like they had the NXT women's tag team titles for a while, and that's it. And then everyone gets excited, and then it's AEW pulls out the trios titles. Everyone gets excited. Yeah, that great best of 7 series between the Elite and Death Triangle, and then after that, it's not just a women's thing; it's a title thing. It's like if you do too many, there's really no point. But again, people think that like to believe that the NXT women's division is like, the greatest thing, and it's God's gift to women's wrestling. And I'm like, okay. And you're giving them titles. Okay. Sure. I mean, you could always have the argument of saying, well, it's an instant story, that is true. Fight for. But, I've also been told, well, if stories are always just wrestling stories, it gets boring after a while. So then don't create new titles then and give them wacky reasons to fight each other. Oh, you stole my hair dye. I can't do my neat streaks in my hair. I'm
gonna take your mustachio dirty Dom. He's mine now. I'm gonna come in your clubhouse.
What did you just say?
I'm gonna come in your clubhouse. Your mustachio dirty Dom. He's mine now.
Was that
mine now? Don't clip that out of context.
Well, I think that's what he was going for.
Clip the one where he says, "What was Boo Pride?" No, what was it?
He said something.
Root against Pride.
Yeah, root against Pride.
Root against Pride.
Unbelievable.
Jack Pride. Everybody knows it's.
Well, yeah,
Jack
but you
Pride.
said, yeah.
Yeah, that's his last name. What am I supposed to do?
I know.
God,
I know.
Show's fucking canceled.
No, we're fine. We're gonna.
It's not my fault, Jack. It is what it is.
I think we're gonna be all right. I think we're gonna be all right.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, I played with a couple of lines there. I was trying to make his Pride centric.
I thought it was good. I mean, I'm sure that clip will be on our socials. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure you might even get an answer from Pride at some point. I would expect.
I gotta stop pissing off wrestlers, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. You haven't learned yet. It's been almost, what are we at, 163? It's been almost, it's been a while. And if you haven't learned yet, I mean, I don't think it's coming, Pluggo. I don't think it's coming.
Well,
if you haven't pissed off Taz, you're okay.
That's true. You know who did piss off Taz? Tony Schiavone. Disrespectful. Tony Schiavone. He was pissed. Taz's reaction was immediate, like, Jesus, Schiavone, come on. Be professional. Jeez.
And that's coming from fucking Taz.
That's Taz. I watched Taz.
That's on you.
Suplex women on their heads through tables.
Yeah.
In the 90s, and he was not thrilled with Schiavone's choice of words.
Schiavone was on one.
He was on one last night. I don't know what was going on. He was just having a rough day or whatever, but he was on. I would have wished for that moment. I would have preferred it would be Nigel at the table. I felt like that would have went over better because Nigel is a Mariah May stan. That's part of his shtick. It would have been amazing if Nigel was at the table when Schiavone said that, because I could only imagine how Nigel would have went after him there. But regardless, yeah. Anything else on the chest of Warren Hayes before?
I think we
gave Rhea her respect there. We gave Rhea her respect.
Did we talk about Rhea Ripley?
I don't know. I feel like we went off on another tangent and started talking about Jade and shit. I don't know.
Every time we got cooking, man, it just
every time it's like Rhea Ripley, it was like, yeah, but Jey Uso, that piece of crap.
Let's talk about Rhea Ripley, but the Brooklyn Brawler.
What the hell? You want to talk about a worker, the Brooklyn Brawler, man?
Yeah, let's talk about Rhea Ripley. Yeah, but the Astros.
That Rhea Ripley's back, but hey, Coco beware.
God bless us all.
But honestly,
James
Rhea's great.
Ellsworth. Oh
no,
we're not doing the shtick anymore.
No,
okay.
We can do better than that. We can do better than that.
I think Rhea's great.
Yeah.
That's and everything. The show benefits from having her on. She's just one of these. She's an undeniable superstar. They recognize it. I really do believe they recognize it. She could be a face for this company if they really wanted to.
God, so this show could have been 4 minutes long. With intros, exits, and your Rhea. She's just great to have.
That
could have been it.
That could have been. I mean, that was practically the amount of total wrestling that they had on Raw anyway.
Wow.
I mean, Spencer pays you per appearance, not per minute. So
yeah, we got an extra 35 out of him tonight on the check, so that's all right. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Spencer, don't forget about us when you're doing the quarterlies. We give you 35 extra minutes of Warren. That's got to account for something.
Yeah. But like we said, always a pleasure having you back. When you reached out and said you were interested, we were like, hell yes, let's get Warren back on here. Always a fun chat. Let the people know where they can find you, what you got coming out, what you're releasing, when you're live. Tell the people.
Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, thank you guys. I keep telling you this every time, but it's like coming in and chatting with your brothers. It's always a great time joining you guys. It's always super easy. It's always fun. Thank you so much for the invites every single time, and I appreciate it. I'm just glad to be alive to accept them.
We're glad you're alive.
Yeah, we are glad you are alive.
Thank you. I was fishing for people.
You are the Chad Gable of Between Two Beards.
You are truly.
Shush. I look today. I released the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Right, that's my podcast. I do it every week. I recorded live on YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, 7 p.m. every Tuesday. And then it's released into the wild the next day on YouTube and on your favorite podcast application as well. I also do a weekly Dynamite review, which is always released on Thursday. So it was released earlier today. I talk in depth of, if you want to hear more of my thoughts for the MJF Ospreay thing, I talk in depth about the match and how I think people have it out for MJF and it's ruining their wrestling experience. and this week, July 20 is the start of the big New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 34 tournament. It's starting this week. And I just happen to do daily recaps. I've been doing this for the past couple of years. This is going to be the 4th year that I do it. So I do daily recaps. So every day that there's a G1 show, I hop on all of this stuff and I record a recap, analysis, review of everything that happened. Then when we get further into the tournament, we start talking numbers, we start talking scenarios, possibilities, who's going to win the block, who's going to the playoffs, so on and so forth. And it's a great way if you're not into New Japan and you want to learn. The G1 is always a good starting point every year, and especially this year because there's so many new faces in it. It's like it feels like we're closing a book on New Japan and we're opening up a brand new one. So it's a good time to get into New Japan. And let me be your guide with the G1 recap show that I will be doing on a daily basis. So subscribe on Twitter, find me on the podcast. I'm also on Blue Sky if you want to just hang out and chat. Twitter stinks. There you go.
If you don't let Warren be your guide to the G1, I'll write a song about you.
That's fair. And I will say, as somebody who my old job was in the coffee business, so I had to get up bright and early to go to work. So a lot of the times the shows weren't even starting or they had just started over here. So I listened to Warren basically every year that he's done it. I've listened to Warren and his recaps because I don't get to watch a lot of those shows live. So you should let him be your guide because I wouldn't know. I don't know a lot about New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I would almost know almost nothing of New Japan Pro Wrestling if I didn't listen to his stuff about it. So you should listen to that guy because he knows what he's talking about. And you can see how passionate he is about everything. It's worth the listen. You should listen to all his stuff. I listened to the Dynamite and the Collision reviews as well as usually the Warren Hayes show. He just, there's a reason why we keep on wanting you back here. That's all.
Thank you guys.
Pluggo, now you can do your wonderful thing where you let the people know where they can find you and when they can find this show, brother.
Okay, well, shoot. You can find me, Pluggo, on all your social media platforms. You search Pluggo, you see this face. You can find out what JPJ and I got going on every Thursday night, 8 p.m. between two beards. But if you want to know what's going on in between that time, go to @B2Beards on all social media pages and platforms as well. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to SummerSlam, so we're going to figure that out. And then this Saturday, as we talked about earlier with Big Bad Boris, we will be, me and Blair Pacheco of the Grandmaker Pod, will be on For Exposure talking about the upcoming LPW Slugger Slam and LPW 28 show that are both happening this week. Spencer's a crazy person for putting on two shows at once. And we do have merch. If you're interested, go to teespring.com/Between2Beards to get your official Between Two Beards merch. Help us out.
Do it. Do it.
SummerSlam is a pricey venture.
It is. Do it.
Yeah, and JPJ has to buy more Shure microphones.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
You got microphone money? Yeah. What the hell?
I mean, I did do an upgrade. The stand is a little higher than I want it to be, but I'm kind of,
You're a little higher than I wanted you to be tonight.
Always, babe. I don't hit these screens low, bro. I don't hit these screens low, man. That's not how that goes. But anyway, God bless us all. You can follow me, JPJ Loves Gaming, on all social media platforms. JPJ Loves Wrestling. I got to change it so it's all the same. But JPJ Loves Wrestling on the Instagram. You can find me on Twitch as well. I am one of those adult children that has been playing the college football game for like 7 or 8 hours a day on stream over there. So if you're into that or you need to get through the workday, it's a good time. It's a good time over there. So come say hi. But yes, you can find me here every Thursday night, like Pluggo said. Next week, we are getting back to firmly AEW Thursday, 10 a.m. with my man, Drew. I want to send him some good wishes. He had some personal reasons he couldn't do the show today. So he knows I love him. Send him all the good love over there. But we'll be back next week. Warren, as always, a pleasure having you, my friend. You know the drill. Anytime you want to come on, you are
as
more
long
than
as it's on a pay-per-view.
Yes, as long as it's on a pay-per-view. You can't waste it too much for free, man.
For YouTube.
It'll
You gotta
suck
go
no
YouTube
matter what.
Premium.
It'll suck no matter what. But everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging in today. We appreciate you all going a little bit extra with us tonight. We will see you all real soon. Until next time, say hi to Sue.
Hi, Sue.
Peace out.
Plugo.
Hey there, Plugo and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue, and I have a bone to pick with you. So, I understand that you guys are being real idiots and spending your entire monthly budget. You've got to be kidding me. This is not the way to be when you're trying to run a business. Your boss, Spencer, is really pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at you. You have some nerve. Get a grip. You have to control yourself. You can't just go out and spend all the money that you're making, you two beards guys. Oh no, this is coming out so stupid. Anyway, behave yourselves, or I'm going to cut you off from watching AEW. You're no longer going to get to know, be able to meet my son. What? Or me. I'm sorry, this is like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for being fans. Watch yourselves.